Hello and welcome to episode number 46 of Shockwaves. This episode's called Monster Squad Goals. I'm sorry, I was so proud of myself for coming up with that.
That is so good.
And yeah, it'll come into play a little bit later, but I'm one of your hosts, Rob Galluzzo. I'm sitting here with Mr. Elric Kane.
Hey man, 4 episodes from 50.
Wow, that's true. Mm-hmm. That is correct. Rebekah McKendry's here.
What up, guys?
Hello.
Hello.
Mr. Ryan Turek.
I'm all about the squad goals.
The squad goals. Yeah, we got a little homework, which we're going to give to you guys as well.
Yeah.
Regarding the squads we want to put together.
Yep.
And we'll have the actual Monster Squad here.
And it's a good week for this, too, because, guys, it's Monster Palooza week.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
As of this airing, we'll be headed there.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
And Monster Squad is celebrating a fantastic anniversary as well.
Are they really? Holy
yeah.
smokes.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. Dude. So, a lot
Very
to talk
non-committal about which number that was. Everyone's like,
we're like, God, I don't want to say
how long?
87?
Oh, 87.
Yeah.
It's the 30th.
So 30 year.
Yeah.
30 years. Holy smokes.
Wow.
We're all old.
We're old. We're
Yeah.
old people.
Bekah, not us. They're just old.
Just me.
Yeah.
Just me. Thanks, guys. Wait, I'm the youngest here.
Oh.
Wait a sec. Oh, whoa. Slow down. I'm the youngest here?
No.
Okay, now we may proceed.
I'm going to actually bet that our engineer's the youngest.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, yeah, I think you're right there. You are right.
So first and foremost, we mentioned it last week, but the Shockwaves merchandise from Cavity Colors should be arriving now. We've already seen some of the pins, but the shirts are out. So hopefully by the time this airs, maybe some of you will get them. By all means, please tag us, tag Cavity Colors. We want to see you in the shirts, the new shirts. We're very excited about them. And thank you for that. We appreciate it. Number 2, go to iTunes, rate and review us.
Yep.
A lot of new people, so we appreciate that as well.
Yep.
And then in terms of what we've seen before that, I want to talk books really quick, if that's okay with you guys, because I've gotten to read quite a bit.
I read a comic this week. What is up?
Is the one you wrote?
Me and Ryan.
No.
That doesn't count.
No, that one does not count.
I just know things in script form.
No, but I wanted to mention really cool book came out in the last week. It's called Slash of the Titans.
What?
The Road to Freddy versus Jason.
Oh.
Okay. I was hoping it was a Clash of the Titans ripoff with
No, I
wish.
Jason in it, which I'm writing now. I'm doing it, guys.
Who put it out?
I don't know. I think I don't want to say it's self-published, but it was. But it's written by Dustin McNeil, who also wrote the Phantasm Exhumed book.
Oh, okay.
So they're both technically unofficial, but he's diehard fan and writer. And the Phantasm book was really excellent. This is great because I've always been fascinated by the history of Freddy versus Jason and the fact that, before it came out, I think they had to go to arbitration with the WJ over 13 screenwriter credits. So there was like 13 writers involved in this movie over the course of 10 years. And this actually breaks down in chronological order every script. Like he's read them all.
That's great.
What they're about, interviews some of the people, talks about it. And again, it's like the ideas that they had to try to put these two together are personally, I like Jason on Trial. That was a really interesting, fascinating one.
Wait, Jason, like a court, legal proceeding with Jason?
There's a procedural version where Jason gets caught in the opening and they put him on trial.
I want him to appear on a Law and Order.
In that one, it's the real Jason, and the movies are based on this killer Jason. Yeah. So there's really weird, there's that.
I'm envisioning a kind of 12 Angry Men style jury drama in which Jason is sitting out in the courtroom and all of these jurors have to deliberate.
But one of them is Robert Englund. As a normal character, that would be cool.
That would be cool.
Nick, I'm looking this up. You can find the book on FreddyVersusJasonBook.com. And
Amazon. I bought it on Amazon.
And Amazon, yeah. I think next to Alien 3, I haven't tracked any other film with such a long production history and development history as this one. So it's amazing that this author committed to it.
I mean, and that's the thing is like I was hoping somebody would because I've read little things here and there, but I don't have the patience to.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to read
so
that.
I mean, the idea, them having a boxing match in hell at the end of one of the scripts.
Oh,
that was what
it's
the
a
fight was
production
gonna
art.
be.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The only my only critique of the book is because it was self published. Like at least in the print version, the lettering is really small, and I keep pinching it, hoping that it'll fit. But I'm like, oh, that's right, you're a physical book. I can't do that. And I feel like a really old man because I literally have to hold it all the way up to my face to be able to read it. That's my only pet peeve, but the content is so damn good that if you're into either franchise, I think you'll really love it.
Oh,
and
$17.99 on Amazon.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I had to do it, and I'm halfway through it, and I'm just having a ball because again, it's like you think there's crazy like fan fiction. You should see the ideas that they almost made and considered as an actual movie. It's just ridiculous.
Did they ever put out that Peter Jackson script? Did that ever emerge? The Peter Jackson Nightmare script?
No, I thought he was on.
It was like
Nightmare 5.
Yeah,
but they reference it quite a bit because I want to say there was I want to say that Peter Jackson, I may be wrong and mixing things up, created Fred heads. Which then David Scow took into his draft of Freddy versus Jason, which is basically a cult of Freddy worshippers that try to resurrect him.
That's actually kind of
wow, that sounds crazy fun.
Yeah,
I kind of like that idea.
Yeah,
I want
good.
that as a movie.
And then there's Jason worshippers too. Like there's so many weird things that they were trying to like. How do we put these two together? I don't know. It's just
Fred Heads and Jasonites. I like it.
Yeah,
it's pretty fun.
Yeah. So cool book. I definitely recommend it. And really quickly, I was at a secondhand store and found an original copy of Lois Duncan's "I Know What You Did Last Summer," the original book,
which is better than the movie, from what I remember. Granted, I was 12 reading it, but I always liked the book more than the movie.
I think it's much different. The only premise that's the same is that kids are getting letters that say, "I know what you did last summer," because they did something terrible last summer. And in the movie, obviously, it's set up in the slasher tropes because that's up on the heels of Scream. That was kind of the deal. The book is I found the book much more. First of all, it is written for a young audience, so it's not very well written. It's very it's definitely catered to like the 12-year-old because it's kind of but the subject matter in the book, these 4 kids accidentally run over and kill a kid on a bike.
Oh, that's more interesting.
So it's like way more devastating, and then they cover that up, and then obviously they start getting threats about it.
That's not a fisherman character, right?
Nothing. No, the fisherman
the fisherman doesn't exist.
That's a complete invention of the movies. No, it's just that they killed a kid and tried to cover it up, and I found that like. I don't know. It was just much more emotionally devastating. The idea of like, oh man, a little kid and you didn't fess up to it.
It'd be harder to forgive them on screen. If that was on screen, I think that'd be a lot harder.
Which makes me curious about the Mike Flanagan version, because I know, when he was on our show way back, he mentioned that he wrote a version that I think they're still making. And I don't know if he adhered to the original book or what. But
if he can pull off some of the stuff in Gerald's game, the flashbacks in that are about as hard as he could put on screen.
Yeah.
Lois Duncan wrote my pipe dream movie to direct someday, Stranger with My Face. It's like one of my favorite books ever. I love that book so much.
Is that young adult fiction or just?
It's young adult. It's
literally right? What's the premise?
It's the doppelganger. It's a girl just starts seeing herself around town, and that's all I'll give you. And it gets so fucking twisted, but I love that book so much. Well, someday.
And I wrote an article on Blumhouse.com months ago. Her real life had a horrible tragedy because her daughter got killed.
There's a book on that called Who Killed My Daughter, which is fascinating. Like, especially if you're a true crime buff, it involves like the Chinese mafia. I think it was the Chinese mafia.
Yeah, there's a lot of theories, but the article I wrote was kind of a Cliff Notes version and kind of focusing on some of the weirder aspects. Like at one point, because her daughter was driving and got shot, and nobody knows what happened. She just died. And at one point, it was like because she had an Asian boyfriend that might have been involved in the mob, so it's like maybe it was a hit related thing. But I think the weirdest thing, and I put it in my article, is that I think she went to a psychic or somebody to because you exhaust all options as a parent. She went to a psychic or something to get an idea and got like a sketch of the guy that the psychic said did it. And at the same time, she had a book that she hadn't even put out yet, but the cover was done. And the killer in this sketch looks identical to the killer of the book she just wrote. And not only that, in the book, he stalks and kills somebody that she based on her daughter, like when she wrote it. It's like a weird, like...
That's a good article. Hey, you can find it on Blumhouse.com.
Yes,
it was really well done.
Yeah, thank you.
I had no idea until I think you shared it on your Facebook page.
I did.
I was like,
because once I read about it, I got fascinated. I was like, that's crazy, you know? So interesting life behind the author of that book. But anyway, enough about books, movies. Elric, what do you got for us?
I saw a movie. I had never seen a movie with this title before. I'd never seen Blackcoat's Daughter before. Did everyone else see it or not?
I watched it as well.
I didn't get a chance to rewatch it now.
And did you see it?
I didn't get a chance to.
It still holds up. For me, it held up completely. The person I watched it with didn't cast the same spell. I will say it's obviously a very different second viewing film because it's such a spell movie. It's such an aesthetic film that it's casting a spell over you. And I can imagine that if it doesn't work, the spell, like if you are not pulled in, and I think the big screen and the kind of sonic design of that film is a big part of why it had a real big impression on me, not the story, not the horror tropes of it, really. So watching it on screen, still good presentation. So aesthetically, I still liked it. There's a couple things that I was surprised by on second viewing. I don't recall it. I didn't once think about how Hitchcockian it was when I was watching it the first time. Second time, there's multiple camera shots straight out of Psycho. There's multiple jolt moments where I was like, oh my God, that is so Hitchcock. And so it was like quite a different experience. But when it ended, there was kind of silence and then, hey, would you like it? And then, I don't know, was the other response from who I watched it with. Whereas I was like, oh no, I still really love it. It's just,
ask that person experience. Now, because
a couple days later,
a lot of people have said, I've been looking at our group and a lot of people have been mixed on it, but almost unanimously, all of them are saying, but I can't stop thinking about it. And that's really, and that's the spell, as you put it. Yeah. And you're totally right. No matter, I prefer to watch stuff at home. I have a great setup for it, but no matter how great my setup is or my environment, I really got lost in that movie in a dark theater, seeing it on a giant screen.
I think that would have made the difference.
Really put a spell on it.
It can be a difference. I mean, the music is incredible. I noticed the music more this time, which I really appreciate. I'll buy that
ordered
vinyl
the soundtrack. Yeah, Mondo's putting it out.
I got to get it because it was really great, and I hadn't noticed the lyrics about the Blackcoat's Daughter, so we were always confused about the title. Of course, this time that really came through more for me. I started thinking more. It's hard to talk. I don't want to talk about spoilers because so much of the plot is it's got such a minor plot that it is important not to give away.
Yeah, but there's not much plot to it. Like I have exactly what you said. I mixed on it. There were parts of it that I was like, oh, that was well done. And even the parts that I didn't like, I can't stop thinking about. Like there was the biggest plot twist I had problems buying, which I think is kind of a common thing that I saw. Like it's just one of these things where you just have to kind of say, yes, I'll accept this, and I couldn't accept it, and therefore I was kind of like, I don't know.
But do you accept it? Do you accept Mulholland Drive or the way that David Lynch would do it?
Yeah, it's a dream logic.
It's dream logic, and I don't know. For Lynch, it works successfully for me. For this, it didn't. That one element, but leading up to that, I was so fucking into this movie. Yeah. And it was just that twist when it finally got to that. I was like, oh, that's it.
It's hard to talk about because I assume the twist is something about the performers and actors you're watching. But if it is, that was the moment where I was like, that was the thing that got me into the movie. Like, that was the moment where I was like, whoa. But I was in a theater and I knew nothing about it, so I was just like, whoa.
I don't think that's intended as a twist either. It's kind of just a matter of fact. Like, by the way,
storytelling device.
A storytelling device. Yeah. But I will say, like the stuff with the can I say the devil? That's not giving away too much, is it?
That much.
That part, the devil, the thingy with horns, scared the shit out of me. All of the tension builds, like even before you knew what was going on, when it was just two girls kind of wandering around an empty dormitory, scared shitless. It worked really well.
The aesthetic of the way it looks. I
was gonna say, talk about the Louise Duncan of it all, you know, or the Shirley Jackson-esque nature of it.
Lois Duncan. Not Louise.
Sorry.
But Lois. Did I say Louise before? You know what I meant.
But if you watch it a second time, for those who maybe it didn't completely work, there are in the very first couple shots, so it's not really spoilers, she's having a dream about what happens to her parents and stuff.
Yeah, I was
that
wondering
stuff
about
is amazing second time because you're like, oh my God, it was already happening and I didn't kind of get that the first time I'm watching this movie.
I wanted to circle back to that because I couldn't figure out why it was there on the first viewing, even after the film ended. Even now sitting here, I'm still confused by those first few shots and what they meant.
Yeah, we'll talk about it off air, but just knowing what's happening to the girl second time was actually really interesting. So, it's not going to probably move much. It's so hard to tell, though. It's been like 3 years. 2 years in a row, it's going to be my number one movie, so it's hard to know. This year probably would be, but Get Out's so freaking good it's so different.
Sorry, Elric.
Yeah, exactly. I can't compare those. They're apples and oranges, those kinds of movies. They're just...
We honestly probably should do like a sidebar... spoiler ridden
well,
episode,
maybe that would be
just
a bonus
because
content,
we've given so much airtime to it.
I know,
People have asked us to do spoiler bonus episodes. Where we just pick a movie and just go and talk about it.
That actually is probably a good idea.
Just dig in.
But anyway, I would encourage everyone to see. I think actually I was saying the one movie I was comparing to afterwards was Devil's Candy. So even though Devil's Candy didn't completely work for me, but worked for you guys, I think they're so similar in terms of the things that are in them, but not necessarily completely the way they're pulled off. Like if you think about, they both have these really great directors making them. They both have the sound design aesthetic, both somewhat possession stories, but they're just very different movies. Like the completely different spells. And one spell didn't work for me and one did. And it's, they're both interesting movies.
Elric just doesn't like rock and roll, guys.
I like rock and roll.
All right, Bekah, what about you?
He's a punk man. He's not metal. We've covered this. So I watched Vertigo this week.
Oh, that's a great one for you to watch.
Elric, are you arguing that's not a horror movie?
I think he
I'm
was.
allowing it.
I'm going to allow it.
I feel a weird
it?
tear in the fabric of reality.
I feel like time has stopped and we have doubled back on itself.
That's how good an actor I am.
I have Vertigo, gentlemen. Anyway, so
too soon.
I know.
Too soon. Poor
a little
Elric.
tear in my eye.
So I watched Vertigo this week, which I had not seen since film school. And it's weird how that film, my reading of it completely changed. Like when I watched it back in like freshman year of film school, it was just kind of a cool little murder mystery. And when I watched it now, the whole thing was about male oppression and male control and the male gaze and women being subjugated. And I never saw any of this before.
Yep.
So it's weird how it changed. And it's weird to think that Hitchcock made this film because he was kind of a womanizer. I don't think that's me speaking.
Wait,
out
actually,
of school.
that would be the wrong word to use for him.
Because
I don't think he could ever get the woman. I think he is woman crazy, but he never got to actually touch them. And
but to make something that it's weird because it feels like a feminist film because it is so not. It's weird the way that it works. But yeah, still, I mean, it's still a tight little murder mystery, of course.
I didn't like it the last time I watched it.
I saw it in
because of the way the main woman was treated in it.
There's 3 women in it, and they all suck. You've got the painter girl who's madly in love with him, but he won't give her the time of day. And then when she tries to give him a portrait of himself, he like gets pissed off, and she starts going, "I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid," because she didn't please him.
Oh, jeez.
You've got the
it's
first
Mother in the Horror Complex. That's what the whole film's about.
You've got
my
the first Kim Novak
Is
character.
it really?
Really?
Easily, not even close.
Wow.
Like if I any day of the week, I'll choose that film.
That's another bonus
my
episode
gosh.
there.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to go
there's so many layers to it. It's not
definitely not one of my fave films. I enjoyed it, and I mean,
skip to the pure cinema episode where you talk about
the
Vertigo.
tension is amazing. It's pure cinema. It's pure Hitchcock. But that said, I am not. This is nothing I will watch again and again. I kind of like. I revisited it, and I'm good now. So, but yeah, I mean, like it's shot. The technicals. Let me try that again. And the mechanics are fucking amazing. Soundtrack, of course, is amazing. The plot, just like I wanted to scream at these women the entire time, the whole time. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's creating it's creating a very personal illusion of what he wants. It's a very dark film. It's a twisted film in the sense that it is misogynist because it's Hitchcock uncut. This is the only film where he's showing everything that he really believes and is on screen, and it's all under the surface of genre and narrative. Right. But it's all there, man. It's dark. It's just
the scene.
It's a fascinating movie.
When James Stewart has Kim Novak at the seamstress and he's dressing her. Oh my God, that was like nails on a chalkboard for me.
Yeah.
So
that's what he did, right?
Well, especially because in his own life, he is married to the Barbara Bel Geddes, the painter one you're talking about, the designer. That's who he has to marry, the mother figure. That's who he's married to in his real life. There's nothing sexual, nothing actually happening between them. But what he desires is the blonde actress that he casts and wants to grab, but he's not allowed to grab her. Yeah. And he's trying to change her into this thing that he thinks is dead. He falls in love
with the harlotty, more relaxed character, and then he's trying to change her back into the more
trying to design her
submissive one. And the whole movie for me.
Hitchcock even talks about it. He can't get the character can't get an erection unless the character is exactly like the other. He's impotent unless he can recreate this dead thing. And it is about this male desire, and that way I think it kind of is a film feminists could get behind because it's being so honest about what this awful side of maledom is. It's not holding it back. So it is it is a twisted movie, and it is one that does get better. I know sometimes you can watch and go, it's definitely a little slow in parts, but when you get to the good stuff, you're like, oh geez.
Yeah. And I do have to say I sided with the murderer because you find out midway through, who did the killing and that Judy was involved, but then he becomes such an asshole that you're like, oh, I'm siding with her. I know she killed somebody, but she's not this guy. So yeah, it was an interesting film for me, how it changed over time, and I noticed these things. So Vertigo.
Moving from one classic to another, guys.
Oh, are we ready?
That's called a segue. Let's drop Wishmaster.
Oh,
so I bought the box set.
Hitchcock to Wishmaster.
I bought the four film set because I'm a sucker. Lionsgate put this out through their Vestron video label, and I settled in for Wishmaster on a Friday night. And I got to say, I love Wishmaster. And Elric can laugh all
I haven't seen it since it came
I
out.
haven't watched it.
I was a Debbie Downer on Wishmaster when it came out in '97 because I was a film student and I was pretentious and I only liked highbrow horror.
You liked Vertigo.
I did not like Vertigo.
Oh, okay.
No. I didn't like it. Well, at the time, yes, I probably liked Vertigo. Now, not so much. But I've turned around.
What show am I on?
I've turned around on Wishmaster, guys. Look, it is what it is. It is. Again, I talked about, when I talked about Killer Clowns last week, it was all about, or 2 weeks ago, it was all about the promise. What do you deliver with a concept that's called Killer Clowns from Outer Space? You deliver the the most abstract, crazy ideas you possibly, and just milk the idea to death. Wishmaster does the exact same thing. And at the same time, it is kind of this tenuous thread that bridges horror from the kind of 80s, the goopy 80s practical effects heyday to the heavy CGI 2000s. And I can't think of any other film in the late 90s that had as much bold, crazy special effects as Wishmaster has. And if you're not familiar with Wishmaster, it's just about a woman who finds a gem and she rubs it the wrong way, and then Andrew Divoff pops out. He gets some new skin. He's a djinn, and he grants you wishes.
Make a wish.
Yeah. And
did you watch any of the sequels?
All right. Good. Let's get
getting ahead of the curve.
Wow. Don't rush him on the Wishmaster.
No, because it's a quick downward
because
slide.
I like two better.
Wow.
Two's my favorite.
Well, here's it. So Wishmaster, what Wishmaster delivers on is you have balls to the wall special effects. The first 5 minutes of this fucking thing is the djinn wreaking havoc on somebody's palace, and everybody in this fucking palace is dying. You got one guy that's getting shattered to pieces. One guy's got his literal fucking skeleton pops out of his own skin, stands up, and then attacks someone else. I mean, come on.
It's pretty great.
It's pretty great.
Do you have it here? I'm ready.
Can we just watch this now on the TV? I don't recall the skeleton scene, and I need to.
It's so good. It's so good. So once you've gotten past that orgiastic kind of glee of watching just latex fly, then you kind of settle into the story. And granted, it's not a great story. Okay, got it. But what the director, Robert Kurtzman of K&B, does so well is he ropes in all his pals. So you got Robert Englund, you got Tony Todd, you got Ted Raimi, you got Angus Scrimm, you got Reggie Bannister, you got Joe Pilato, you got Kane Hodder. Wow. You've got just about everybody. Did I said Tony Todd? Yeah, Tony Todd. And they all just pop in for cameos. And I got to say, Kane Hodder's cameo is probably the best one because it actually demonstrates the limitations of the djinn himself. Because up to now, we're like, oh my God, this djinn's a badass. Andrew Divoff, every time he's always asking people to ask him for something. And so he comes up to Kane Hodder and he's like, what do you want? And Kane Hodder's like, I want you to fucking walk away. And the djinn just turns around and he's like, oh no. And he's literally walking because he has to walk away. It's so good. It's granted, yes, it's campy, but it's one of the better campier films of the 90s. So I had a blast watching Wishmaster, and if you don't mind, I'd like to segue into Wishmaster 2, Evil Never Dies, directed by Jack Shoulder.
Jack Shoulder.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Oh,
I
now
never
you're
got to the sequels. I never got to them.
the glaze
I
over
like Jack
Elric's
Shoulder. I'm
eyes
awake.
suddenly lifted.
His ears perked up at Jack's shoulder.
Yeah.
So here you've got Holly Fields playing Morgana.
Nice.
Yes, obviously. As a thief who breaks into a museum with her boyfriend and their cronies, and the break-in goes awry. Her boyfriend gets shot, but she gets this gem, and sure enough, she unleashes the Wishmaster. And this time, it's all about Wishmaster going to jail.
I love that because
he needs souls.
He's got to collect 1,001 souls.
Yep.
So he goes to prison.
And where else can you get where else can people just ask for what they want?
Mm-hmm.
Jail. So he goes to jail. And come on, man. One of the guys is like, I want to see my lawyer. I want my lawyer go fuck himself. And he makes his lawyer's body completely contort and fuck himself.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Doesn't, but it's amazing.
Okay, I kind of need to see this.
But look,
I like that one.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I have to kind of descend into Wishmaster 3 and 4. Oof. But, it makes
Wait, you went all the way?
I'm going all the way. I'm going to go all the
way.
But, that's the thing about the Wishmaster series. It makes good on its promise. It makes good on its promise of going, you know what? It's just all about a fucked up genie that's going to mess people up. And
who put it out? Screen Factory?
No.
Vestron.
It's part of the Vestron.
Yeah. So I'm going to be very sad to see Andrew Devoff leave because he's not part of 3.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's part of 4.
No. My memory is 3 is awful. 4 is a little better.
Yeah.
That's my vague memory because I watched them all. Of course.
So anyways, look, guys,
really
total guilty pleasures on my behalf. Total guilty pleasures. And I honestly did not expect myself to enjoy them as much as I did. Maybe it's just a hard work week, Elric. I don't know. But
the first one, it might have just been a couple years too late, right? Like for its time, because our tastes were kind of changing then.
By late 90s, it was all noir horror, neo-slashers.
Self-referential.
It literally came out. It came out, I think, just after Scream did. And it did really well. But, even for somebody like me, I was like, no, I'm wrapped up in this, this slasher resurgence. Fuck Wishmaster. And, they actually did a full P&A campaign. I remember seeing ads all over New York for it. And
I remember it was on comic books a lot, like the back of comics.
The back of comics.
For that film. Dr. Giggles is the other one. I just remember
Candyman 2, Farewell to the Flash.
Yeah.
Wishmaster and Dr. Giggles
Dr.
really hit the comic book scene hard. Yeah.
And I feel like Dr. Giggles was also a couple years, past when it should have come out. If it had come out, it might have been
a little bit earlier.
Totally.
It's just it's weird, these movies. It's interesting. It would be an interesting festival, those kind of movies. Those ones that missed their time period.
Their mark.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah. No, and I don't know if you dug in, but the features are great too.
I have to make some time for them.
Do you guys know why Devoff left the franchise? Just purely a money thing, or
I think
I haven't gone that far. I watched the documentary for part 1 so far, and that's it. I don't know if there's more features on there, but the 1 was great. I mean, again, a lot of that effect stuff was always kind of built into the script, which is why Kurtzman got his shot. Because it's like,
and he brought in Greg Nicotero and
we need
his
an
whole
effects
team.
guy if we're going to pull this off. All righty. Well, I'm going to talk about another masterpiece. Obviously,
yes, let's do it.
Ryan and I got to see this, and I know Elric has already caught up. Maybe Bekah did too. But my friend Scott Reynolds, who was on a few weeks ago, hosted a backyard screening of Cathy's Curse.
Sadly, I have not seen Cathy's Curse yet, guys. So let me find out about it. Tell me.
Oh my God.
I can't believe you put Vertigo over Cathy.
I know.
Wow.
No, I have heard about Cathy's Curse so much from Brian Collins' book.
Yeah, that's it. No, it's Brian Collins.
Here's let's
pretty much everything.
I want to just take us back to a couple years. I don't know how many years. Brian could call me out on it, but I remember getting a text message going, "Holy fucking shit! I just saw the most brilliant movie of all time. It's called Cathy's Curse." And I was like, and you know what? Actually, he might have just pushed it on me and had seen it previously. But I remember when we just started becoming friends, that was his friendship tool, connectivity. And I was like, man, I've never heard of Cathy's Curse, man. And he told me all about it. But it's the one movie that he's recommended to me that I've never seen. And I think it's been several years now.
Yeah, he kept trying to get me to watch it as well. And I have not seen this yet. But
it's never been a good version. I tried to watch it on Amazon once, and after a few minutes, I was like, I can't sit through this terrible. But, of course, who else but Severin Films would restore this freaking thing?
Did they do it? I heard through the grapevine they did it just for Brian.
You know what?
Kidding.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Does Brian at least talk on the bonus feature?
Oh, he does a commentary.
Okay, I was going to say,
of course.
he does like a full
Him and Simon Barrett.
Him and Simon Barrett do a commentary. He does his introduction from one of the screenings on there. Yeah,
there's a
Brian
good
is
extra
all over.
of the Kathy's now with her mom.
I watched that. That's
my God,
amazing.
that's so
Yeah,
funny.
Kathy today.
So
but,
is it as brilliant as Colin says?
no. No, but what
I'm somewhere
it is. But yeah, it's funny because there's two cuts of the movie on there. One is the original theatrical, which was 81 minutes, and then the director's cut, which is like 90. And we opted for the shorter one.
Yes, good choice.
We'll get
No, trust me, good choice.
Well, the shorter one, it has more, kind
Holes?
of WTF
Yeah, it's
because
all
because it
bonkers,
just
yeah.
keeps cutting. And you're like, wait, what's happening? What's going on?
I didn't even know why they're coming back to the house. I didn't know who they were. When they moved back in, I was like, who is he? Like,
There's just a title
what's
card
the
that says they're back. Yeah, there's a car accident in the beginning. This little girl, her dad like rips her out of her room and like, your mom and your brother left.
Your mom's a bitch.
She's a bitch. Let's go. And then they like go, and then he swerves out of the road to avoid a rabbit, and they crash and die. And then out of nowhere, now you're with another family.
You get another title
you're
card.
Like,
Yeah.
all right, so what was that about? And it turns out that the brother grew up, and now that's his family moving into the old house.
Mm-hmm.
And his daughter,
Something like
Kathy,
that, yeah.
goes to the attic and finds a creepy doll after she literally spends, I think, 5 minutes touching every little thing in the room. Which we commented
There's a great
on.
portrait, too.
And there's a portrait of the
You just
aunt,
had, and during that scene, they kind of wanted Jeff Goldblum to pop up and be like Jurassic Park. He's like, she's got to touch. She has to touch everything.
Everything. And then she kind of gets possessed. So it's a little bit Exorcist, a little bit Amity 2.
Yeah, it's got quite a bit of Amity. I noticed that this time too. And did you catch the Don't Look Now?
Of course,
reference?
yeah. There's a Don't Look
lake
Now.
and there's a girl drowning, and the guy even carries the girl out of the lake the same way as Don't Look Now. You're
Oh,
just
I
watching
know,
it going,
I know,
oh my
yeah.
God. Like,
Wow.
It is such a...
It's crazy, but I thought we saw it in the best possible environment, which is with a lot of friends and kind of laughing at. I don't know if I would have enjoyed it if I'm sitting by myself.
So I
watching it.
did that because for sure. So we're doing ripoffs on Pure Cinema, and the main
watched
reason
it
we
yourself?
did it
Okay.
was because of the disc. Like we knew it was coming out, so I said we're going to do an episode just about ripoffs because of Kathy's Curse.
Right.
So watching it by myself, it was more of like chuckling to myself, going, "Oh yeah, this is pretty crazy." But it definitely, when I started talking about it, I was like, "You have to watch this with people because I don't think it makes any sense by yourself."
No, we laughed a lot, and I mean, there was like funny things, like practically, I felt like they were like it was like child abuse to Kathy because there's so like it's snowing out and you could see breath, and she's like in like a dress, like barely.
Oh no, she never wears a sweater or a jacket
never wears a
outside, but
sweater,
she's hanging
and
out
we're
and having a
like-
fucking tea party.
They're like, put a sweater on her or something. I think.
But what about her mom's voice? It killed me. Her
my
mom
God,
is
yeah.
one of the most horrible sounding humans.
Well, here's the thing. Seeing it with the group, we subject ourselves to bad movies all the time, but more often than not, those bad movies have glimmers of cohesion, and I felt like the zaniness of Kathy's Curse and its inconsistencies and its incoherentness, it just got tiring. It just wore on me. So by the time I started watching the clock, I was like, "Oh, great! We still have 20 minutes left."
You announced that.
I think I announced it
was
too.
quiet and out of nowhere. He's like, "There's 12 minutes left in this movie, everyone."
12 minutes. Wow, 12 minutes left.
And that was the shortcut.
Looking
that
for
we wanted.
answers, but Collins, I get where you're coming from with this. And I have the Blu-ray coming to me because I'm fascinated by all the special features. I want to hear your commentary, but it just wore down on me.
Yeah. And I will say this: last night before we did the show, I was like folding laundry and I put on the director's cut.
Jesus.
And it's like it's a little bit more of a real movie than what we watch. Like there's a bunch. Most of the additions are in the first 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So everything actually makes sense in the director's cut. Like literally there's scenes where she meets the Kathy's out back and she meets the other two kids.
Oh, yeah.
And then the mother comes in and I'm like, oh yeah. Had that scene been there, I would have totally understand where all these people came from.
I don't want to understand this movie.
I know. And I think that's
just
part
want
of
this
the
experience.
I think that's part of the appeal. But the point being is, it's a little bit more coherent and actually like a real movie.
Yeah.
I didn't even find some of the other stuff as funny in the director's cut because it's a little more serious and like it helps the pacing of it. The tone of it is a little bit different if you watch that longer cut.
Right.
Whereas the theatrical is the one you want to watch with your friends and just pick, what are we watching? There you go.
It's nuts. I mean, but I do think you could have a fun party. It reminds me like Death Spa, where if you're with a group of people and drinking, you can have a good time with Death Spa.
Great.
Death Spa.
Death Spa is obviously a lot better.
Yeah,
made.
I was so confused by Death Spa because they screened it at Jump Cut and
Yes.
everybody was like, "Oh, this is such a good film, you have to watch it." And then I watched it the next night by myself and I was like, this is appalling.
No, it's not good.
What the hell did I
fun,
miss?
yeah.
But he's got the greatest hand clap of two characters ever.
No, but I mean, the idea of bad movies, I really do think if you're entertained, it's not bad. So, like, for me, I was entertained. I saw it in the theater, and that really is optimal because it came on, like, after Bad Taste. And it was just like, people couldn't believe, there's no expectations either because I didn't really know, except for Brian, the title. I knew nothing. Some of the effects are pretty funny, and it's fun. You should definitely watch it so you know what the hell we're talking about.
Right.
And that's the only reason. Can that be in the poster?
Watch it so you know what the hell we're talking about.
Okay, I'm going to talk about one that I didn't know if it was horror or not, but it's very relevant to our show. So I watched it because no one's watched it yet. We've all talked about Uncle John.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to watch this because when we had Nick Antosca on, he told us the director of Uncle John, this independent film that was on Netflix, has directed the entire second season. His name's Stephen Peet of Channel Zero. So I was very curious, having seen The Boy and then seen the result of that, which, The Boy had a lot of horror things, but it also was very grounded and real. Uncle John is, way, way, way more in that direction. And I would say, now that I've seen it, I don't think it's really a horror film at all. It's a very slow-moving, quiet, understated, small-town crime cover-up drama. But the cool thing is it's that star, and I would have watched this a lot sooner if I realized the star of it, the title character, Uncle John, is John Ashton, who is one of my favorite characters from Beverly Hills Cop. He's the older cop who's with Reinhold.
Okay.
And I've always loved that actor. So it's him like 40 years later, and he's this older guy in a small town. It just opens with him. You don't see the act, but he's obviously smashed some guy over the head in the small town near a dock, and then just basically, suffocates the guy until he's out of misery. You don't know the backstory at all. And then it's basically a whole time is in real time, him kind of covering it up, just going back to his normal routine in a very small town. And then it cuts to a cross story, which is one of the actors from Saturday Night Live right now. I think he does the news update. And it's almost like a totally different movie vibe-wise. It's like almost hipsters in love, falling in love with an office romance, and then eventually the two stories come together when you realize that's his uncle, and he's gone to see his uncle. And there's a little bit of a crime element, but it's the tone of it is exactly what I'm saying. So it's not horror at all, but it's definitely small town crime. It's really well done. It's not like oh shit. It's more just like mastery of that tone. A very small thing done very well. So I'd be very curious to see what in that, besides you could tell the guy can make a movie, but I'm curious now what the Channel Zero story will be. That he saw that, but I respect people who find that talent.
Oh yeah,
in kernel in something as simple as this, and so if you're interested in those kind of movies, you might like this one. If you're looking for an obvious horror follow-up, I would miss it on that front. It's probably a little long. It's almost 2 full hours, and I don't know if that kind of story really needs it. It's a very kind of micro. That's probably why it has the 2 narratives eventually. But he's really good, John Ashton. It's really fun to watch him. He's one of those guys. I thought, I wonder if that guy's still around. Yeah. And there he is as the lead in the movie. So it was neat. It was cool to see it. And now, I'm still super excited to see what they do with Channel Zero.
Yeah, I can't wait. Bekah?
So I checked out Dimension 404, which is the new show that just released to Hulu this week. I think it just released.
This week.
This week. Yeah. So the first episode, it's definitely set up in the same vein as like Twilight Zone or Outer Limits. Like even the opening feels like Twilight Zone, where like somewhat Black Mirror-ish, where they're definitely trying to play with technology and things like that in the opening. But it's still
the voiceover.
The
voiceover is very reminiscent,
which is Mark
Twilight
Hamill. Doing the voiceover.
That's great.
Yeah. But it's the same voiceover where it's like, we're going to take a journey into some weird shit. So sit back because it's going to go into the unknown. And it's Mark Hamill stating all
more
of
like
it.
the Forrest Whitaker Twilight Zone than the classic Twilight Zones, I think. It has more of that version, that 90s kind of feel.
It does have a 90s feel
that's
to
what
it.
it felt like
doesn't, whereas the classic Twilight Zone, they tended to rely on simplicity. Like it was all about how do we make it in one room? It was very kind of set based. These definitely feel kind of more grandiose, like the 90s ones. So far, I've only made it to episode 2, and episode 2 was like the greatest thing I've seen in a long time. It was Patton Oswalt. And you'll recognize a lot of the other characters like Randy or Jughead from Riverdale is working the concession stand and things like that. But the second episode was really good about a guy. Cinethrax. About Patton Oswalt, who plays kind of the old Gen Xer. Who's doesn't want to go see this new teen horror movie. It's not even a horror movie. It looks like Hunger Games. I was going to say Maze Runner, but it looks like Hunger Games. That's come out it's like 3D, but it's better than 3D. It's Cinethrax. And but then it gets more demented as it goes and kind of Lovecraftian, but at the same time, it's got a lot of They Live references.
Yeah, he's wearing a They Live t-shirt.
Yeah.
And she's wearing, and his niece is wearing a is it Bride of Frankenstein?
Yeah,
shirt?
she's wearing like a bride shirt.
The references are great. Like it's actually really quite funny.
And it goes,
Suspiria.
Suspiria reference because he's trying to get his niece to go see Suspiria.
Reanimator and Suspiria.
It really goes out of its way to kind of make fun of people like us because, like in the opening, he's sitting in his car and he spills guacamole on his They Live shirt and then licks it off, and we were like, "Oh my god, that's us."
Do you do that?
All the time, licking guacamole off my shirts.
I think in the
constantly.
voiceover they even talk about it's a guy who's going to be up against his worst enemy, millennials.
Yes,
it even
and that
says
was
that
it. It says Gen Xers versus millennials.
That's why it's not like Black Mirror, because it's not. Black Mirror is so serious in a sense. This is not serious.
And he's sitting in the theater and he's annoyed by the fact that the teen girl in front of him is texting. And it's all things like this. And he's trying to get his niece to wear these special glasses. But yeah, it was definitely great. I'm excited to check out episode 3 tonight because it stars Tom Noonan and Constance Wu, who is the lead of my film. So I'm excited to see Tom Noonan. And apparently the first episode I put on and then fell asleep that night, so I need to circle back to it. But it had Joe McHale in it, so I need to circle back and see
Hulu,
how it is.
But I saw last night. I saw Dick post about it, say how it was fantastic, and then I saw 10 minutes later you posted the pretty much the same thing, all about episode 2. So today I managed to borrow somebody's thing to watch just episode 2, and it's really fun. I really liked it. It's goofy, but it's really well written. The effects are really fun, and it's really directed for people like us because it's just purely about movie going and holding on to your culture, like holding on to that, like 35 still important. And,
35. He keeps talking about 35 millimeter as opposed to.
I really like. I had a question though, because when they went up to go buy tickets, they bought tickets for a 3D film, and then they both walked in, and then he was like, "I've got these special glasses that flatten every 3D presentation," and he's like, "You should wear them too." And I'm like, "You guys just wasted money on a 3D ticket."
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Yeah. Well,
anyways,
it's pretty satirical though, because the tickets were like $56. It's pretty funny. It's just like 56.
Well, it was a knock against like the arc lights and the
I swear it was shot at the ArcLight because as soon as they showed the interior of the theater, they had the guy come down and do the little intro where he talks about turn your phones off and no smoking. It felt like the ArcLight, and
I would be surprised if other episodes are going to be as much my bag though, because that was just about movie going. The others might just be a little silly.
I'm intrigued to see what they're like. I will say the funniest thing of the entire episode, where Dave and I both just like guffawed out loud, was where he went up to the concession stand and they were like, "We have tofu dogs," and it was like reading the menu of the ArcLight, where they have like imported designer teas and salads and popcorn maybe, but all this other stuff. So that was like my favorite moment. But I'm anxious to check out the rest of Dimension 404.
Yeah, I'm very excited that there's a new anthology show, and it's just their first 3 episodes right now that are up on Hulu. But I'm just curious about consistency and tone and all that stuff. But anyways, Wishmaster ate up all my time, guys. So I got Wishmaster 2, Wishmaster 1, and Cathy's Curse. So you could say it was a quality week.
I agree with you. I got a couple of quick ones I want to mention. We talked a lot about this one on Killer POV, but I need to alert you all that it's on Blu-ray now. It's a little movie called They're Playing with Fire. It stars Sybil Danning. And you look at the cover of this thing, I think it's like 84.
Oh, this is the comedy about the teacher.
No. It is not a comedy. Well, depending on who you watch it with. But it's set up and presented like a sex comedy.
Because the cover looks like Man with One, or...
She's on a desk and she seduces her student.
It's got a very distinctive cover that looks like other sex comedies that I'm trying to remember.
But I bought the Blu-ray immediately from Kino Lorber. I had Josh Miller and Steve Scarlatta over because they had never seen it. They never even heard of it. And basically, I mean, again, it's like the most awkward, like within the first 5 minutes, it's the most awkward seduction of a teacher and a student. Like it's just, I mean, Sybil looks amazing in it, but the student looks like, oh my God. Yeah. Like really dorky and weird. And so he starts this affair with her. And there's a theme song that also has They're Playing with Fire in it. And basically for no rhyme or reason, like basically she's trying to convince, because she's married, of course, she's trying to convince this kid to, I guess, scare like his mother and grandmother. Like, I don't know. I actually don't know what the plan is. I guess it was supposed to scare them. But then out of nowhere, like for no rhyme or reason, it kind of turns into a slasher, like, cause then they get like brutally murdered, the mother and the grandmother. Right. And now the kid's kind of on the run and all weird about it. And, it's got Paul Clemens in it, who is in The Beast Within. And then the kid, what's his name? Dominic Brasio from Friday 5, the fat kid that gets you recognize so these are the other movies they did. But it is just bonkers, and literally there's almost no rhyme or reason for the slasher portion of it. There's literally one scene where the killer appears in a Santa outfit with an axe, and you're like,
there's
what?
always
room for that.
Yeah, but but just for one scene. It's that's not his gimmick. It's just weird. One scene. The character walks into a Christmas room with a tree set up, and then he comes running out of the closet it's dressed as Santa. And Steve Scarlett was like, "Why does this movie keep getting more awesome?" And he's like, I don't get it. It's too much. So it is unlike anything you will ever see, and there's a great 15-20-minute interview with Sybil, a new one.
Oh.
And
does she wear sunglasses in this one?
No. But she looks pretty darn good in it.
Oh, really?
And
okay,
and she's very candid about the movie, and she talks a lot of shit about the lead actor, the kid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So I was like, okay, I like this special feature.
Little pussy couldn't get it up. That's what she's saying. I'd love to see something.
Pretty much.
Really? Oh, geez. Oh, man, that's
he's like, I don't know what his problem was. I had to do everything. He didn't make our scene sexy at all.
Wow.
Whoa.
Don't be that guy.
So they're playing with fire. You don't understand what you're missing in your life.
You know what? Even though you showed it to me, in the time between then, I'd already forgotten the slasher part. All I remembered is the sex comedy and Sybil on a bed naked. That's enough.
Oh, no. All right. Yeah,
but I'm glad to remember
it's in high def now.
Wow. Oh, man. Yes, please.
Was there anything else you guys saw?
I'll plug a couple things. So I'm still watching The Magicians, which I am still absolutely loving. Again, fringy horror. It's kind of sci-fi fantasy horror all wrapped up in one, but I'm now way deep into the first season. Streaming on Netflix. Check it out. I also watched 13 Reasons Why, which is the new series that they put on Netflix. I assumed... this is my own mistake. I thought it was going to get somehow supernatural, and it doesn't. It's just like high school drama. It feels a lot like Riverdale. But that said, I'm totally into it now. Cool. I had to work past the first episode is a lot of parents just don't understand. Adults are lame, and here's why. So you kind of have to get past that, and then I'm in. It's very much from the perspective of a teenager. And then also I watched Wizard of Oz, which before Elric says I know is not horror.
I actually think that is closer to horror.
Yeah, actually, I will say. There's some scary moments in it, which I completely forgot. That's mostly gateway horror for
a lot of kids.
I watched it for the other podcast that I'll plug right now, which Dave and I have. So if you enjoyed our Hotel Cecil episode, please check out Our Strange World, where we kind of explore truths behind legends and urban legends and what's real and what's not. So this week we did Wizard of Oz and looked at things like, is that really a midget hanging in the background? It's not. And, did somebody actually start to die from the makeup and things like that? But yeah, some of the things we found out are amazing. I was telling Rob before the show started, the snow, that scene where they wake up and they're covered in snow in the poppy field. Yeah, that's asbestos. That's what they used for snow. Nice. So you find out all types of crazy stuff. So please check out Our Strange
stuff.
Oh, yeah, we totally get into the Pink Floyd. And we tried it. We did.
Yeah,
so,
I've seen it done before. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we totally...
I did it in film school, and I was like, this is so silly.
We talked about that.
Why am I getting drunk watching Wizard of Oz when I should be watching WISHMASTER 3?
So, no, we talk about the dark side of Oz because we did it in film school. And because Dave and I, it was our club who was putting it on, we stayed completely sober that night. We did it as a midnight screening. And for the first 15 minutes, you're like, oh my God, this is everything. And then an hour in, it's 1:30 in the morning and you're like, this is so boring. I don't even know what I'm watching anymore. Because you have to play the CD twice. And then we had arguments over whether you started on the second lion's roar or the third lion's roar. And then we actually investigate, did that lion actually kill someone? Because that was another urban legend that the MGM lion killed somebody. So anyway, check out the podcast. But Wizard of Oz, some interesting stuff there. And it's way scarier than I remember. I'm probably not going to show it to Marnie just
yet. Well, the monkeys are actually
terrifying.
pretty frightening, yeah.
No, that and Willy Wonka were far more terrifying than any horror movie.
I forgot how scary The Witch was. And there's a part where she actually bursts into flames, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's horrifying!" It's crazy shit.
It's a great movie.
I heard if you take My Bloody Valentine and you sync it up to a Rush album, it's just
get out of here.
Magic.
I was trying to look it up. I thought the Melvins did an album that links up with some stoner movie.
Apparently, when we were researching, there is a site that is meticulous about if you watch Rush Hour 3, it syncs up with like the Pixies, Trom de la
TLC.
and things like this. Like it's meticulous. So there's other ones out
Rush
there.
Hour 3.
There's
not enough time in your life.
Don't ruin the Pixies, Trom de la with Rush Hour 3.
Watch Crank 2 or something, but don't watch Rush Hour 3. Just let's forget that one.
The last thing I want to mention, and maybe we'll get into this a little bit more next episode, because I think it's next Tuesday, April 11th, the Phantasm box set will drop from
Oh my God,
USA.
it's gorgeous. I just got my press copy this week.
I just got it.
It's gorgeous.
I finished watching all 5 as of this morning, and it was a really amazing experience getting to see them again, especially chronologically all in order. And I have such a newfound appreciation for it. The special features are fantastic. There's pretty much new docs on all of them, but in particular for 4, Oblivion, Don had mentioned when he was on our show a few weeks back about the Roger Avery script that they wrote for it. I think the first 5 or 10 minutes of the documentary for 4 is all about it, including seeing production art and what it would have been and stuff.
Is Avery in it or no?
He's not in it, but they go into a lot of detail of what it would have been and
Cool.
Bruce Campbell would have starred in it and like all sorts of crazy stuff. So I mean, just from skimming some of the features and watching all the movies, it is a wonderful set.
Yeah, cool.
Gorgeous. Yeah, we'll get into it when you guys have had a chance to watch some of them
still
too.
part of it, even though 2
they license. It's the exact disc that Scream Factory put out. All the features and all.
It's like the Halloween box set.
Yeah.
You know, it was a merging
Yeah.
of all these.
That's great.
So it's a great set.
So,
and
and I just want to mention too, because I didn't know until today, Massacre Video put out a Blu-ray, a special edition Blu-ray of Hack-O-Lantern.
Oh.
So
Hack-O-Lantern.
Yeah, you
I don't
remember
think
that.
I have ever seen.
I'm gonna pull up the VHS cover, and you're gonna remember it. But I just might have bought that today.
Of
Why
course
not?
you did. It's that kind of week for you.
You know what I'm really excited about? I'm excited about this, guys.
The house box set. Well, that's funny because you only have
past
half
2.
a box set.
Yeah, that's 1 and
Bekah.
2. I ordered the
know.
import as well because I got jealous when I saw you post a photo. I was like, all right, I needed 2.
I need to pick up the rest.
Yeah,
I'm psyched about that.
And also, shout out to Little Shop of Gore for sending us some care packages. You can go to their websites, I think littleshopofgore.com, for some cool collectibles. At Monster Palooza, they're actually touting these collectible canoes. They're like little model kits, but they're famous canoes from the summer camp horror movies. Like Friday the 13th. Now it's got your interest.
Yeah.
And Sleepaway Camp, so it's a little Camp Arawak canoe. There's a little Crystal Lake canoe, and then it's like it comes up on a little pedestal, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta buy that.
So that's
I gotta have one of those on my desk.
I found them. I can't even remember what convention I was at, but it was like one of these like more broad conventions. It may have been Kamikaze. It was what I call like a Pikachu con, where most of the stuff there is like very family friendly. Yeah. And then out of nowhere, I saw the Little Shop of Horrors booth, and I was like, my people. I bought the Slugs. They had a Slugs matchbook. And I was like, where else am I going to find a Slugs matchbook?
And they sent me a Society
And
one.
they sent a Society one.
I would love a Deliverance canoe. That would be cool. Like that with the little guy in the banjo.
Ryan Selena of Little Shop of Gore. Listen to Elric. Yeah. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
For John Borman. Let's do it.
All right, we'll be right back with our guests.
What's your favorite curse word? Cocksucker mother. I can't remember who it was, but they said cocksucker motherfucker. On that, I loved it. It was on Inside the X.
I remember that.
It was so great. Who was that?
I'm trying to remember who it was.
Cocksucker motherfucker. It wasn't Van Damme, but I always dreamed of him being on that show.
It was someone super proper.
It was. It was somebody surprising.
It was like cocksucker motherfucker.
Yeah, it could have been a British
word?
show. No, it's just
it can be whatever you want.
String of words.
You can make it a word without a break.
Mine is fuckface.
Oh, yeah, fuckface is nice.
Pretty good.
It's just like there's 2 hard F's.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Fuckface. You're such a fuckface.
I've been using dickhead lately.
Dickhead's good.
Fucking dickhead.
All right, fuck faces, we're back.
That's pretty Bill and Ted of you.
I know.
Dickhead. Oh my God. What a fucking dickhead.
I don't know why douche never gets old. What a douche.
You do like douche.
I like douche.
I feel there was like a time when that wasn't like a thing.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, I'm not even joking. I feel like I brought that back.
You did?
I started saying
You're
it a long time
responsible
ago,
for douche?
like mid-90s. I'm like, Does anybody say douche anymore? I'm gonna start saying that.
Well,
so
in
I started
80s,
saying, "What a douche!"
It was always douchebag.
Yeah,
it was the
bag
full
was there.
word.
Douche rag.
Also, there was a guy in my band named
I
Terry,
changed
and we
it.
called him Teabag.
Oh, yeah, teabagging.
So like we teabag. Yeah.
I know that world.
So like,
Welcome back.
what a way to
Fuck
begin.
faces.
And if you're wondering why we're cursing up a storm, because it's already begun before we even begun,
Yeah.
which is we have our guests with us here. Yep. Very exciting. 2 members of the Monster Squad, Andre Gower and Ryan Lambert. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us. Fuck faces.
Thank you.
Yes, and it was because while we were in between, Elric brought up
James Lipton.
Yeah, favorite curse, and we just
What's your
started
favorite curse,
going into
Rudy?
our favorite curses. And fuckface was Ryan's, correct?
Good icebreaker.
See,
That's a good one.
that's
a
my
good one.
favorite. Like I was saying, there's 2 good hard Fs in there.
Yeah, that's All
And
right.
it's like
We should-
really,
we should
it's like,
call-
what do you come? How do you come back from that? Like you just go, whatever, fuck face, and they're like, Jesus,
Yeah, that's kind of like
pretty
you can't go.
Yeah.
Douche doesn't like cover.
No.
Like,
a
suck
good-
it,
it's not a
douche
good-
hole.
It's not a good retort.
douche hole.
Yeah,
Douche hole.
a good one.
That's like a 16-year-old where it's like
Exactly.
you haven't learned how to properly
You're dumb.
curse yet.
Right, I'm trying to come back to his thing. I'm like, you stop.
The more you start pairing words with
Shit
other
bird.
words, like,
Fuck
no,
face
dude.
head.
I call my cat Shitbird.
Wow.
a
For
good
all,
name.
so
That's
for all
good.
the all
Guys,
the
Mind you, one of our listeners is driving down the 405 and going, "Oh, I need to roll up the window." Saying
yes, for all you kids listening that love the
Yeah,
Monster
I
Squad,
know.
welcome to Adulthood.
Welcome to the Monster Squad.
Ding, ding.
You guys have changed.
Not much,
But not much.
Not
Yeah,
much. Over there,
yeah.
not much.
But yeah, so we came up with a fun game that we're going to get to a little bit later. But obviously, we want to talk to you guys about plenty of other stuff, including the movie, how you guys got together, and what you're up to now. And tell me a little bit about the podcast, because that's something that's fairly new that I don't know. But you guys co-host a podcast together now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a fun little podcast called Squadcast with Ryan and Andre, and it was something that I wanted to do for a while, and we would always talk about it. And then we would get together because we just kind of moved back to LA at the same time, like 2.5 years ago. And we would sit around and tell stories and laugh and cut up, and there may be a drink in there. And it was just hilarious and just really funny. And we're like, why are we not recording this? And of course, much to the chagrin of my wife, who's been saying, why are you not recording this stuff and doing your podcast? So a year later, we finally hit record and went from there. And it's kind of, it's fun because it's really just us two sitting around shooting the fish.
Yeah.
And sometimes it goes off the rails, sometimes it doesn't. And now we have great guests that, Ryan and I talk about. We come up or meet cool people and we have them on and we just kind of hang out. It's just like a hangout session. So
It's super casual, just
super casual.
you got, two friends talking every week.
Yeah. And then all of our listeners and fans, they're like, it's my favorite thing to clean the house to. And I feel like I'm in the room with you and just hanging out. And it's not like,
Yeah. That's what we like to, and that's what we try to do too, is just recreate the conversational experience of just, you're in the room with us. We're just hanging out. We're talking.
yeah.
Now, had you guys, obviously you've been friends for a long time, but did you guys remain in touch after the movie?
Well, we've known each other for a long time.
Right. But did you,
I know of Andre,
you know of him?
You
know,
can
the
call him a
reputation.
douche head right now.
douche bird.
But no, I'm just curious if you guys kept in touch over the years, or it was more of, when the reunion stuff started happening for the movie that
Yeah,
that you
I
were back
mean,
in
we kind
touch.
of went our separate ways for a while there. I actually had kind of quit acting to pursue my rock star lifestyle, and then eventually moved to San Francisco. And I lived there for 15 years. Andre moved to North Carolina and did whatever the fuck he did there. But
Well, there is a story.
I was going to say, what did you do there, sir?
Time.
But yeah, it wasn't until we heard about this whole resurge of we were going to do they were going to do a screening in Austin, Texas. It was set up by a guy named Eric Vespi who works for Ain't It Cool News, and he brought us all out there, and I was in my expectations, I was just like, all right, yeah, I guess you want to show that movie I did a while ago, and sure, that sounds great. Trip to Austin, let's roll. That sounds fun. unbeknownst to me when I got there, it was a madhouse. I mean, 2 sold out screenings and just people screaming and asking a million questions. And I was like, I had no idea that this had been going on this whole time.
Yeah. I think, it's funny because neither of you had any inkling at the growing popularity of that movie because, and this goes into your podcast that I heard, for us, at least for me, it was a huge HBO thing. Mm-hmm. Like it was on HBO all the time.
Oh no, we owned it.
And then I'd go rent it when it wasn't on HBO. And it's just weird how many movies are like that where they didn't do well theatrically, but all of us were of a certain age and caught it on cable nonstop. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know?
And I was going to say, and Andre, you and I talked about this. It feels like the fan base, we were all sleeper agents. Like we were growing up as horror fans and as movie fans, and Monster Squad was part of the vernacular, and we were all but as we grew older, some of our tastes changed too, But lingering in the back of our mind, we always knew that there was that one kind of gateway horror film called The Monster Squad that we all loved. Mm-hmm. And then it wasn't until maybe much later in our lives too, where we just kind of came out of like Hail Hydra. We were just like, click, Monster Squad's fucking great. And Lionsgate put out this great special edition. And yes, that's it. And it was kind of like, as we got older, we suddenly reflected on why it meant so much to us and why it had such a deep impact on us. So it was a weird kind of like little dormant state of fanboyism that was going on until
we're the same age as the kids.
Well, exactly. That's
unique in itself. Yeah.
And I guess in a way, it's kind of a similar journey to you, Ryan. Like coming out and going, oh my God, yes, right. There's this thing. There's this magic that occurred in cinema where monsters took on kids and kids took on the monsters, and it's cool. I just thought it was really cool, and I remember when Lionsgate did ultimately put out that beautiful special edition, that I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I remember I tried to make the amulet myself, and I tried it. It was kind of like when all the adults started realizing all the things that Pennywise did to them as kids, and they just had to remember a little bit. And it was like, oh yeah, I tried to do the Frankenstein. Like I was like drawing that Frankenstein. It was really weird, but it's interesting just to see. I'm going on tangents, but it's just interesting to see the fan base keep growing and growing and growing.
I'm going to go on a total tangent. I have vivid memories of this because I was in elementary school and I was having a slumber party. And me being me, Mom was like, okay, let's go to Blockbuster. You can rent something for your friends. And I immediately, being me, wanted to rent horror. And I remember having the discussion with my mother where she didn't want me to rent a horror movie because she was scared she was going to get calls from the other girl's parents. And so she handed me Monster Squad and was like, this looks like it would be okay. And I remember watching it that night and just absolutely falling in love with it, so much so that my parents bought me a copy. And this was back when like VHS tapes still cost like $40. And we had a copy and I watched it on repeat. But vivid memories, elementary school slumber party showing everybody Monster Squad.
Oh, Rick, do you have a story?
I was mostly watching through the window of her slumber party. So that's right. Mostly just looking at the girl.
I.
When I was young, I only really remember getting really scared by Dracula. I started probably, just when he was still scary.
Yeah,
like Dracula was actually scary to me at that stage of seeing it. So I didn't have HBO, like I was saying, growing up in New Zealand, but I had rented on VHS. I remember that. And it wasn't until probably the Lionsgate watching it where I realized how good. Also because I think of the cult popularity also of Night of the Creeps, and then going back to Monster Squad and seeing how much of a pair they really are, and how much of a talent you actually see in his writing and directing in both those movies, and especially from a youth perspective. And I suddenly valued them both.
You're talking about which writer?
Fred Decker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Black and Decker.
Black and Decker.
Predator coming out. Yeah. What I'd like to see is you guys playing now playing like parents to the next Monster Squad and a TV version of the Monster Squad. Can we make that happen?
Like a TV show. That would be amazing.
That would be cool.
All right, it's done. It's done.
Let's make it.
Where's the gavel, Turk?
I just realized that by the end of this year, we're just going to do a separate podcast. It's called Elric Pitches.
Elric's Pitches.
And it's just going to be a culmination of everything.
I'll go in.
Predator into that one.
Predator Purge is the greatest idea.
You would watch that, right? Predator on the Purge night.
Predator comes to Earth on Purge night.
On Purge night?
Yeah, where everyone's going back to
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Crazy tangent. And Andre, I want to hear from your perspective. Ryan talked about, when Vespi made that call and how it brought you guys out. For you, what was your reaction?
Well, I had a slightly a little bit more, still kind of connection with it because I went to college and I was around the people the same age that were kind of there. And every once in a while, I had this one guy that was his favorite movie of all time and would yell, Wolfman's Got Nards across the quad and yell lines from the movie and like knock on the door and say the line, say the line. And I'm like, no. And let's go hang out or something. And so that was of that time. And then when Eric called, it was actually Aaron Morgan who actually contacted me first, a little bit earlier than everybody. I was like, hey, my buddy, and I hadn't known Eric prior. Yeah. And he was like, they're trying to do this thing, and we have a couple contacts, and let's see if we can make it happen. And like Ryan said, we kind of talked a little bit before that, and we're like, look, it's either going to be an interesting, fun, free trip to Austin, Texas, or it could be something interesting, and it went kaboom. Mm-hmm. And you had that, it was sort of like that low, slow, long fuse for 19 years was burning, and then it blew up on the original Alamo Drafthouse attic one, the old school one that's no longer around. And it just went absolutely bonkers, and the internet blew up. But the original ones that saw it in the theater were there. The HBO kids were there. The video store kids were there. And, we started hearing those stories over the last 10 years, been nonstop kind of Monster Squad love for 10 years. Yeah. And there's some fascinating stories there, like your slumber party, you seeing it and realizing it later. Those are all really good things that make it kind of special, because I've always said something, there's something different about Monster Squad fans, and that's not a pejorative. It's, we're in a kind of a genre, house here, and in a genre podcast, but it's not like, hey, this is a genre movie and I'm a genre fan, therefore I like your movie. Yeah. There's something else that really connects these Monster Squad fans that I didn't realize was as umbilical almost as and strong until a couple years went by and we started doing more conventions and appearances and screenings, and the 135 millimeter print that they showed that night on the Dynamite night for the next 6 or 7 years was rented out every weekend, because I ended up knowing the two guys that owned it. Wow. And that thing absolutely got obliterated.
Wow.
And I was at a screening that I helped kind of put on and it broke twice, and it every time I saw it, like once or twice a year, that it just got a little bit weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. And it traveled North America for 6 or 7 years.
Wait till the Stranger Things fans catch up with it. I feel like they don't even realize how much is in that movie, and when they finally catch up to it, I think a younger generation is going to love it.
Yeah.
Well, I agree. And there's already, the other fascinating thing is we already have this great second generation of Monster Squad fans. Mm-hmm. That is the first movie that, Ryan and I meet them all the time. That is the first movie that they show their kids, and then, and then they love it. And then now they're walking around in Stephen King rule shirts and, dressing up as little Rudy and stuff like that. So.
I think that's kind of fascinating. It is, it's the first horror movie I could think of that when parents are like, what should I show my kid to get them in? It's like the perfect gateway movie. I'm like, oh, Monster Squad for sure. Because it's not too scary. It's not too profane, but it's cool. And it's got something to it. And, I remember Barbara Crampton posting online, like, what should I show my kids? Mm-hmm. And that was the big vote, was Monster Squad. And she ended up showing it to them. So, that's super cool. But, do either of you have kids? I'm just curious from your perspective, I know Ryan does, I think. I do. As a parent, when do you show them the Monster Squad or just horror films in general? Like, when did your kid discover it?
I don't think he saw it until like a little bit later in life. My kid's so like punk rock, it's like not even funny. Even from like day one. So it was never like, that cool of a thing that and I like I said, I had already been out of it for a while, so it wasn't like he went back and looked at like my early career or whatever. Like I was already like, he was more into like my music and things like that. Mm-hmm. He went to a screening not that long ago that I wasn't at, and sort of brought like a bunch of like his crew with him, and basically just like kind of like went as like a goof, like just to like laugh at dad.
I thought there was going to be a punch like, but they were blown away. No, they just laughed.
No. They all went home and like wrote their own songs about how lame I am.
No, that
teenager.
was me. That was me.
Well, I'm curious at the time that you were making it, because for us, we were kids watching these movies and we loved them, and we had different monsters that we were fascinated by, but still intrigued. Like we wanted to see how far we could push it. Like, I'm scared, but I want to watch another horror movie and get that thrill again. But it's a different perspective for you guys because you're acting and you're seeing monsters on set and they're fake and all that kind of stuff. So, at the time you were making it, did you have a fascination with horror films? Did you like monster movies? Or was it just kind of, it's just movie making, it's fake?
It's kind of strange because I had a sort of love-hate growing up with all horror. I was very much into, I was fascinated with being scared. I didn't necessarily love sitting through them, but I would kind of torture myself. And definitely I had a younger brother, so I would torture him with the knowledge that these things existed. And I remember maybe one of the earliest things was seeing the ad in the LA Times calendar section for It's Alive. Mm-hmm. And just like that, the Davis baby's hand coming out of the crib. And I was like, that is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my entire fucking life.
I've talked about it on the show before, about how the teaser that they released for It's Alive, where it's literally just a camera circling the crib.
Right.
I had nightmares about that thing for months.
So I hadn't even seen the film. I didn't even see the film, but I would chase my brother around going, the Davis baby's coming to get you. and but we didn't even know what that meant. So, but my parents, my loving, wonderful parents, took me and my brother to see The Shining when it came out.
That's a little intense.
Yeah.
For
so that came out in 80? 80. Yeah. So I was 9.
Wow.
Thanks.
That's great.
I think about a month after that, I was in a psychiatrist's office. And it wasn't so much about the entire film. Although to this day, I believe it's a masterpiece, but my family has a deep fascination with the Grady sisters.
Yeah.
And so my brother has paintings and pictures all over his apartment to this day of them, because what that did for him is basically got him through it. If they were just always around,
he can get over that fear.
He could just get over it. Now they're just friends of his. But for me, even to this day, I'll step out of the shower and be like, are they going to be out around the corner? I did go to psychiatrist and it didn't take at all. They tried really hard, but that got me really, really bad. So at a very early age, I definitely had this wonderful sort of fascination and fear in a good way, I think, to this day of horror in general.
We need to give them some shock therapy by meeting them in person, I did last
night. Right. No, but we were gonna be. They were gonna be at one of the conventions, I think, that we were gonna go to, but they canceled. And I think vice versa, we couldn't go to one that they were going to be at. I'm almost there.
Yeah, because Elric ran up to me when he met them in Texas.
Are they?
What did you say to me? He's like, they finish each other's sentences. It's so scary.
They were on either side of me talking, and by the end they're like, "Oh, wouldn't that be fun? Remember that one time you shoplifted? That was so strange. Hey, do you want to come home with us?" Basically, was the conversation. I'm between these two girls going, "This is blow," because I was 8 when I saw it, not in the theater, but on TV.
Can we back up to the? Do you want to come home with us?
Well, no, and it was basically, do you want to hang out? Let's just keep this going. I didn't know what.
Well, I do
expect,
need to my dream is kind of just to tell the tale of what I just said, and then say, is there any way we could just chill for 15 minutes and hang out and take a picture with me, so I can show my brother or whatever. The closest I got was you guys probably went to the Kubrick exhibit here in LA.
Oh yeah.
So it took me, it took all of my power to walk up to those dresses that were hanging on the wall. I'm like, I can't do it. I was by myself. I didn't go with anybody. I went alone, and I was by myself. And I'm like, I don't think I can do this. I literally don't think I could walk over there.
Trauma.
And I knew that they were there. I knew it was there because I saw someone else had a picture on Instagram or whatever. So I knew that existed. And I remember walking around the corner and seeing that the next room was the Shining room. I'm like, okay, they're in there. So like I saw like the knife sitting on the table. I'm like, okay, there's the knife, and oh, there's a typewriter. That's cool. And like out of my like peripheral vision, like I think they're on the wall over there. I don't know if I can do this. And
it was giant too. I remember it was like a giant picture of the two of them.
Yeah, no, there was the picture on the wall.
Yeah.
But on the opposite wall was the actual dress.
The dresses, yeah.
And so I slowly just walked up. I'm like, get closer. There they are. All that's missing is the actual like body inside, but this is almost scarier.
Yeah.
These are like ghosts like floating on the wall. Yeah. And I walked up really close, and this woman said, I can tell you're kind of nervous. And I said, I am. I'm freaking out. And she goes, would you like me to take a picture for you? And I said, yes. And if you go to my Instagram, I think it's on there. Like you can see me. I am fucking terrified.
I remember this photo, and now the context is amazing.
But
so funny.
But to go back, doing the Monster Squad, I did have this like thing like of rubber masks and like the fear of all the my childhood and things like that. And I think being on the set and being that close to them in makeup, even though they were completely method and didn't talk to us at all.
Oh, Noonan. Noonan's method? Go figure.
Right. Yeah, well, I've many tales of that. But so like sitting across from him and knowing that, I'm an actor now, he's an actor. And, I think that kind of like took over and got me over all that. So. Wow.
I just think if I was 12 and I was in a scene with Frankenstein's monster, I'd like lose my mind. Like, I don't know. That's just me.
Well, I saw it from you kind of, obviously that they're actors, but the stuff was crazy good. It was all practical, so it was even better. But growing up as a kid, I think we're almost, unless you were really hardcore into it and renting, if you were a horror kid. Mm-hmm. I wasn't a horror kid. I saw horror stuff, and most of the horror stuff was the early old black and white reruns, because we only had 3 channels when I was a kid, or 4, one was local, and so you'd see some old Creature from the Black Lagoon or old, Wolfman movie and Abbott and Costello or something, and then right before Kung Fu Theater on Channel 9 in LA, which I watched more. Mm-hmm. But I didn't rent horror, but I had friends that if you had a slumber party like Rebekah, you'd rent some stuff. So this you see some old like 70s stuff or early 80s, and it was just kind of like, oh, this is like her head just got chopped off, and like there's an arm, and I realized that you don't take a girl out in the woods because you'll die. And
still true.
Still true. Wait, we saw. We haven't watched it yet.
Oh, yeah.
Someone gave us their movie.
I have it.
Because when you go to great cons, conventions around the world, you run into with some great people.
Yeah. Of DVDs, of screeners that people slide me at conventions, of like homemade backyard horror films. I get some gems.
Yeah. So one's actually decent that I've known the guy for years. I met him at this little show in Pittsburgh, and he made this movie called The Barn. And it actually festivaled around and pretty good. So
which is now on Netflix.
Which is now, right. So I met this cat like 3.5 years ago or 4 years ago, and he was like, no, I'm trying to make this movie. We made like the short, and now I'm trying to raise money. And he had his candy corn. Mm-hmm. Candy corn. What a creepy I was like, that's scary. And I have a picture with him and the other guys. I was like, well, keep me posted. And we've always stayed in touch. And now his movie's done, and he festivaled it all year. I'm like, that's amazing. But I met him at a show. And then you meet people like Dave Camfield with Caesar and Otto's and stuff like that. And I don't remember the guy's name, but the name of the movie is Don't Fuck in the Woods. And we're like,
I almost texted you last night. I'm like, guess what I'm about to watch?
Did you watch it?
I didn't, but I was going to. And I was like, I think I'm about to watch Don't Fuck in the Woods.
Can we watch Don't Fuck in the Woods on the airplane tomorrow?
Yeah.
All right. Wow. We want a full report.
Yeah.
If you're sitting behind these two gentlemen on the plane,
that's right,
watching Don't Fuck in the Woods, please email us.
Something tells me somebody's going to fuck in the woods. Yeah. Like they did not listen to the title of their own movie.
And they shouldn't.
Actually, if they don't fuck in the woods, then awesome.
Wow. And how's you guys have been doing conventions for a few years since a lot of the arena stuff. What's that experience been like in general? Because I think just a week or two ago, you guys posted a photo with a family that all dressed up like the Monster Squad. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Cool. Let me tell you about them real quick, and then you can comment on the whole convention thing, because I love giving them a shout out. So we did Wizard World Chicago in August, which was a ginormous show. I mean, like Michael J. Fox was there, and like half the Walking Dead, and a bunch of wrestlers, and Rosario Dawson. But that's a little thing.
Stop.
Damn it. But this guy who's our age and his son came up, and they drove from Reno, Nevada to Chicago to meet Ryan and I.
Wow.
Or Ryan and me. And I was like, no, you're here to see this. Like, no, this is obviously the days. Like, this is my favorite thing of all time. And now my kids love it. I have a whole family of like 5 or 6 kids and my wife, and we all love it. We couldn't all come to this trip because his daughter was sick at the time. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. You drove from, like, we live in LA. We would have like met you in Fresno or something, like split the difference. But his name is Matthew Tappengott, and thought that would be it. And we just tried to give him love and shout out. We go to Cincinnati at Horror Hound a couple weeks ago, and here come the Tappengotts in mass, cosplayed out as the Monster Squad. And they looked better than the cast did in the movie. And we had costume people. But they drove again from Nevada to Ohio. They enjoyed the rest of the show too, but because a lot of the monsters and Noonan was there and Duncan Regeer and all, they came to Cincinnati. So that was kind of might be one of the last times that happens probably. Yeah. We'll see. But they were amazing. And so you got to give them shout outs all the time. But the convention thing, I've seen it change over the because like it really kind of made a change. Like Ryan and I have talked about this, I think, before, Turek. And we started out, our very first convention was Monster Mania in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And we were kind of like co-headlining with the Brood from Saw, like the first 3 Saws or something at the time. And we were like, oh, this is neat. We've never done this. We don't, we'll get it or figure it out. And it was very good. That was also the day, by the way, that the guy showed up and go, oh, by the way, Lionsgate's doing a DVD and we're doing your interviews tomorrow night in the hotel room. We're like, who are you? No, you're not. I have no idea what you're talking about. He's like, no, we got to get it, that we're doing it. I'm like, no. No one said anything to us about this.
Wow.
So we learned that day that they were doing a DVD. But I think Ryan was like, yeah, we'll go to a convention, fly us out. And then it kind of went from there, and they've all kind of changed. Some are big, some are small. I remember something like Fright Night Film Fest in Louisville, Kentucky. Ken Daniels' show has now turned into Fandom Fest, which is now moved into much larger confines, and it's just amazing. And Ken we still stay in touch, and he's a nice guy. I just saw him, and I don't know if things have changed for the good or if they've changed for the bad or if it's really indifferent, but I think it gives the fans an opportunity to see stuff that they probably wouldn't get a chance to see. So I like that part of it. Yeah. Ryan used to have a different take on conventions, and it was just kind of interesting. And then we've now learned and evolved, and we kind of have a system, and we work it, and we enjoy it. So
yeah, I actually thought like this has got to peter out. Like this has got to end. Like this, it was a great run. This was fun. Like fans had their time, and like Monster Squad was great. Okay, I gotta go. See you later. Bye.
The summer of 2008.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought like, wow, that was fun while it lasted, and like maybe there'll be 1 or 2 here and there down the road. Maybe I'll be like, 80, and I'll be like, I was Rudy in the Monster Squad. And like some like 70-year-old guy will be like, I remember you. Like, I'll be sitting in a corner, with, whatever. But it has evolved for me because now, I wake up in these like some strange city in some hotel room that I've never been to, and I walk downstairs and sit behind this table, and like then I just see this like line of amazing people waiting to just say hi, and they're there. At first I was kind of a little embarrassed by the whole thing, but I think now it's like I'm there for them. I'm there to say hi because they want to be there. They want us to be there. And this is sort of like something that, they've sort of saved up for or waited for like for months. And, now they're like bringing their whole families, like he was saying, and it's like an event for them. And that's really why I'm sitting there and doing it for them,
Wow. Have you ever get sick of the movie at this point with the amount of times it's played?
If there's a screening and we kind of like do a Q&A beforehand, I might not stick around and watch it.
Seen it enough.
Sometimes when it's a big crowd, I might sit in the back and just see how it plays. But at this point, I can basically like count the beats to where, and they're gonna laugh here.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I'm gonna say I'm in the goddamn club and they're all gonna cheer here. And so like, I'm like, oh wow, it's universal, like, not to use that. I shouldn't use that word.
No, it wasn't universal. That's the whole point.
Anti-universal. But yeah, you can see the fans, they all sort of know the film really, really well. They always do like a thing. How many people have seen this movie before? And like most of their hands raised, So it's nice to see that. And sometimes you get the same question. Sometimes you're throwing a curveball, and that's always nice. But, for the most part, at first I was like, oh my God, I'm like sitting next to Andre at all of these, and I've said the same fucking story over and over again. He's probably sick of hearing it. And then I'm like, wait a minute, but he's also saying the same story over and over again. Like, but those people have not heard that story.
Yeah, their first time.
So we're there for them.
What's the weirdest Q&A questions you guys have been asked?
Will you officiate at my wedding?
Are you allowed to do that?
Well, I could go online.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. Anybody can be a minister in like 5 minutes now. That's amazing.
I'm curious, at the time that you got the job, what kind of kids were you? I mean, like looking back as grown men now, like looking back, were you guys complete assholes? I mean, like what kind of kids were you?
Don't hold
do
back,
you look back? No, I mean,
so we're complete adult assholes?
No. I mean, just like I look back and I was like, boy, at that age, I was a complete dick. I mean, like, and imagine if somebody had thrown a movie at me, I probably would have been a monster. But for you guys, what were you guys? I mean, like, this was a huge job. So, I mean,
well, I went to the audition right from another project that I was working on, where I was wearing a sequin jacket and like dancing around.
Which one was this?
That was called Kids Incorporated.
Oh my God, I love Kids Incorporated.
So I was doing Kids Incorporated, and I basically like they said cut, and I took off my sequin jacket and my guitar, and my mom drove me to this, audition, and I put on the leather jacket and grabbed a cigarette from Shane Black and read the lines and got the part, So, I mean, was I a dick?
That wasn't the question.
Probably.
But I mean, just in terms of like, where was your headspace at? I mean, like, did you guys?
It was a job.
Yeah.
I knew what it was. I was a professional actor. I mean, he had been doing it for much longer than I had. I was, 13 when I started. When I got Monster Squad, I was 15. Yeah. So I knew that I was working. I knew that it was a job. I don't think I thought of it any other way. The only thing I could probably say is that when I got it and had to go to wardrobe, the costume woman was putting leather jackets on me, like one after the other. What about this one? How about this one? How about these pants? How about these shoes? Try on these, Ray-Bans, this shirt fit, whatever. And I kept trying on these leather jackets, and she goes, oh, this is the one. I love this one. This is great. Let's start taking photos. And I said, you know what? This doesn't feel right. This is, I don't think I would wear this. And she said to me, she goes, yes, but you're not you. And I was like, oh my God, I know what acting is now. Like, I totally get this. Like, I'm not me. I'm not playing. I'm not supposed to be comfortable in this. Rudy's comfortable in this. I'm not this character, So people always ask, like, are you cool? Like, are you cool in the real life? Do you smoke? Whatever. And I'm like, if you took the clothes off that character, if you took and you put him in like a tie and a suit, he'd still be that guy. Because he's kind of funny, if you think about it. He kind of acts cool. Like, there's a little mystery surrounding that character. But, like, for the most part, if you just took the leather jacket and the pants and the bike and the cigarette away, it's kind of, I think he would just be the same person anyway. So,
how much of your actual selves did you put into those characters, if any at all?
Well, I think it changed. Is a perfect example of a story that we know. I could tell his stories and he tells mine, but it works perfectly because you asked what kind of kids we were in Body of Work. Here comes Ryan Lambert. I mean, he's batting 1,500 because the first thing he ever read for was Kids Incorporated and gets it. The next thing he reads for is Monster Squad and gets it. So he's been around a little bit, reads for like 2 things, gets them. And here I am. I started when I was 5 and did a bunch of commercials and print work and soaps and movies and TV shows and guest spots and and then shortly before Monster Squad was doing a bunch of television work and some short-lived series. And my sort of run is I'm the guy that did like 8 series for 1 season instead of 1 series for 8 seasons that everybody knows. But I think that is okay now because I actually had an interesting conversation with Seth Green about that same thing. We're like, no, that's a good thing. I was like, all right. But my body of work leading up to Monster Squad was, most fans know this, and Ryan, I mean, we said this a million times. I auditioned for Rudy. Yeah. And because my body of work, I was the cool kid with great hair. I used to have great hair, damn it. And a leather jacket. And so they're like, oh, bam, him. And I went in and read.
Called? Sorry, not to interrupt. Math something.
That was acting on MathNet. That was acting. MathNet. It was a PBS show. It was great. You learned how to solve crimes by using math.
And you were like,
okay, because Numbers wasn't a very good show.
What was your name? Styx, the drummer?
No, I was Rimshot.
Rimshot.
Because I was like a drummer, but I was like the president of Steve Stringbean's fan club, who was this famous rocker who gets kidnapped. You watched it. You can see it on the YouTube.
Please, everyone, go YouTube.
Because I have the worst line read in that show ever because it was awful. But I read for Rudy, and then they called and was like, "Hey, you got that movie you read for like a month ago?" Because when you were growing up in this business, especially back then, there was less kids in the business, and then even fewer of them actually got most of the jobs. And then a very small percentage of those kids did the bulk of everything.
That actually makes, I've had this discussion before where I swear when I was a kid growing up, I would see the same kid faces in everything. Like Margot on Punky Brewster. I don't even know what her real name is.
Amy Foster? Is that Amy?
Yeah.
The blonde? Amy Foster. Yeah.
She was in everything. Like I remember seeing
Troop
her.
Beverly
Oh,
Hills.
she's in Troop Beverly Hills. Oh, she's in this episode of this. Like I remember seeing that face over and over. And there were a couple other kids like that.
Jenny Lewis from Troop Beverly Hills. And I did a series called Baby Makes 5 with Peter Scolari. And it's a very small... Yeah. Because there was very little programming that had kids in it, and you're usually somebody's offspring.
Like, I remember seeing Fairuza Balk in a lot of things when I was a kid. But I don't, and maybe it's just that I don't watch a lot of kid media now. No, I do, because I have a 4-year-old, and I have to watch all this shit.
But there's a bazillion stuff.
Yeah, I don't see the same faces in repetition anymore, like I did when I was a kid.
Canadian TV.
Yeah, maybe I'm just not paying attention.
It's all Ryan Reynolds and Alanis Morissette.
I kind of watched Degrassi, but that was about it.
But yeah, and then I got Sean... They said you got the movie, but you didn't get the role you read for. And I was like, oh, maybe they gave me like one scene or something. I was like, well, okay. And they're like, no, you got the lead. And I was like, no, damn it. Because I'd seen the script and we had screen tested an audition. I was like, this is the cool kid. This is me. And I was mad that I got the lead. I was a total idiot. But it worked out. I think everybody's exactly where they need to be because Ryan's a much better Rudy than I would have been. And I think I'm an okay Sean. I don't, if we had swapped, I don't think it would have been the same dynamic. And so, but like Ryan tells a story about putting the jacket on and becoming Rudy, you got to become this kid who at the time was an insufferable know-it-all and it's like, that's me. Okay. I still to this day kind of get that. But I wasn't allowed to have any hair product in my hair. And they chopped it all off in a really bad haircut that I'm like, what are you doing? I'm going insane in this chair right now because it's my hair and I can't put anything in it.
Is that why I think it's the Italian poster, you look like Justin Bieber?
No, that's...
Which one's...
That's like the Dutch one or something.
The Dutch?
No, the Italian one that we're not even on it.
Oh,
no,
that's
the weird
the
monsters and the naked lady dancing going...
Yeah, I know that one. Actually.
That's my favorite poster, actually.
Googling that right now.
Monster Squad Italian one sheet is the best one.
It's traumatizing.
It's like Discolo Demonstre or something. And, but then you become that thing. I was like, okay, how do you... Like, I hadn't not had a stitch of hair product in my hair for like 5 years. And I'm like, I have no idea what's going on here. And I had this like bubble head haircut, the total dorky and ill-fitting t-shirt. And like, genes but everybody, it was fine. And everybody settled into it. And I think everybody came right in the spots they were supposed to be. But I took it, to answer your question finally, Turek, is it was just another audition, another job that you go to the next thing. Because I'd gone bang, bang, bang into like a ton of stuff. And at the time I was actually in this sort of a development situation deal, not a contract, with 20th Century Fox as a studio. And I did a bunch of shows that big TV names like Michael Zimberg and Randy Zisk were developing and creating and directing. And I was in like 3 or 4 of those as starring roles and recurring roles. And then Monster Squad came. We did that. And then right after Monster Squad shot, before it came out, Fox became a network. And I got offered 2 shows of the 7 or 8 original programs on Fox as a network. And when you put them both side by side, I picked one, and that went for 2 seasons.
Wow.
And the other one was Married with Children. But I did a show with, George C. Scott and Conrad Bain, and it was guaranteed for 2 seasons.
What was it called?
Called Mr. President.
Best George C. Scott story.
Still to this day, where Ryan is scared of rubber masks, I am scared of moving at all if I'm doing the line read to someone's coverage close up. Because I got motherfucked by George C. Scott
Christian Bale moment.
So bad as a 14-year-old that the entire set stopped moving. And I learned my lesson. Because, when you're doing coverage and your head's like right for the eye line, right next to the lens. And apparently I think I might have shifted my weight to my left foot once or twice. I wasn't like dancing around or anything. I know that. He stopped everything.
Wow.
And that dude motherfucked me for about 4 minutes straight.
Wow.
And was telling me how to do this and how to be
For moving during coverage?
Yeah.
Wow.
He didn't like that. And if I was a smart ass enough, like I would have been today, I was like, yeah, did Carl Malden not do that during Patton? I don't think so. Whatever. And but yeah, I learned, and so now I stand dead tree still and I don't move.
I'd be scared if that guy
Ghost
yelled
of
at
George
me.
C. Scott
Yeah.
over you right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Did anything. And he's probably like, I told you right, damn it, you little fucker.
Well, I love on YouTube.
He can yell at somebody unlike
I'm
anybody.
sure.
Oh, yeah,
He
yeah.
banned the EP of the show, who was one of the most powerful guys in the history of television. He banned him from the stage. He was
Why?
not allowed on the stage because they didn't like each other.
Wow.
It was Ed Weinberger. Gone. Banned him. Gone.
I love that. George C. Scott Unleashed is the little clip from Exorcist 3. It's on YouTube. He's not in a file. It's not. It's great stuff.
Did you like being in? I can't imagine like being in something from such a young age, like doing anything from such a young age. Did you? Because obviously you went through a period where you just kind of left, and I want to do music, and you found a different passion. Did you find ways to just keep interested in acting, or did you take some time, like when you went to college, stepping away from it completely?
That's sort of what it was. I think prior to that is the kind of key to all of it, to the actual answer. But I started when I was 5. So there's not a time that I don't know this as a kid. But it was also very a concerted effort by my parents' side of it to have other things. So when I wasn't working, I went to real school, because you have to go to school on the set when you're working, for people that don't know. But so you're in and out of school. And if you're working a lot, sometimes you're not there for an entire school year and you're doing your stuff. But I played sports and Little League and basketball leagues. And so we would be at auditions or on the set and try to get out of – I would go to a basketball game wearing makeup and, and try to change in the car to not miss my youth rec league game from, the Valley Conference basketball tournament or something. And I would get so mad even if I just missed a practice, because I had another whole second life. And, from Monster Squad, I went right into Mr. President, and then Mr. President and a couple other things. And then I actually joined the cast of the Hogan Family for a season and was supposed to go more, and it ended up being 1 season, and I was in high school. And then I took a break my senior year of high school and kind of concentrated on being a senior in high school and playing sports. And I wanted to play sports in college, and I wanted to go to college. And if I could do both, that'd be great. But you're at a peak of a career that not many people get to do. When you made that kind of, some people think I was batshit crazy, and other people give me the biggest compliments. But I left because I had an opportunity. I played basketball in college, and went
Where
to
was
2.
that?
I went to a place called Lewisburg College in Lewisburg, North Carolina for my first 2 years, and then got recruited to play at UNC Asheville, which was a Division I school in the Big South Conference. And got to play with my best friend from my first school. And then now one of my best friends on the planet is from there, and I'm going to see him in 3 weeks in Orlando. So it all kind of works out. Because I said, I don't want to play what if. I can always read for a sitcom when I'm 30. I can't go to, I mean, you can go to college when you're 30, but you can't play college basketball when you're 30.
Yeah.
And it's not going to work. And so I think we both kind of made those decisions. Like Ryan said, I'm a musician. I want to be in bands. Where do I go to do that? And he did it in LA for a while and then went to the Bay Area. And then I had that world for a while. And then, but you're never really out because you always have a connection. And then, yeah, like 2000, came back for a little bit, and then 2006, and now we're back in full force and working on stuff. So it's a very interesting turn. I've done a lot of I think between Ryan and I, in experiences of what people have done in this industry, most people's like, I grew up in this industry. What do you do? This industry. And even some don't even migrate out into being on the other side. Like I have great friends that we grew up with that we all know as friends that are big time executives now and development people, which is great. And then there's people that you walk around, you're like, well, you couldn't walk and chew gum at the same time when you were 15. It seems like you can't do that when you're 40. So sorry. And so I don't mind having that kind of double-sided, well-rounded other experiences. I mean, Ryan's traveled the world, and Ryan's been to more places than I can even count that I would love to go to. And I think that all counts is becoming not single tunnel person.
No, that's important.
Well, I would say life experience, you need it to inspire the arts as well, so.
That's kind of why I got out there. I mean, I felt like when I started, not to go all the way back, but my first like sort of, experience with entertainment was music. I was in a musical comedy troupe when I was 9, basically like doing George M. Cohan tunes. And then that kind of led to Kids Incorporated, which was a musical show. And then like, I'm on TV, so I need an agent. And then that agent started sending me out on parts. And I started getting those parts. And I'm like, wait, this doesn't have anything to do with music anymore. Like then all of a sudden I was getting like major roles in other films that I turned down. And I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to go to Mexico and be in this movie that like went on to be like this huge, huge film that I will not say. My girlfriend at the time got pregnant. I was 20. And then, like you were saying, like just life and getting out there and seeing what's going on. You need that for art. So coming full circle now that I got the acting bug again and like kind of doing it and starting these new projects and writing new projects now, I feel like I've earned it more than I would have if I would have just said, well, I was the kid from Monster Squad, and now I can make movies because I was that kid. So I feel like I learned enough and I got out there enough to where it might come across as truth.
Right.
Well, I think, Rob, your point is almost, I think there's two perfect examples of what you were just saying. Life experiences, you see, influence or inspires arts or creativity, and that's exactly what's happened in the last couple of years with us as individuals, and then us as kind of like a working duo or a pal crew, and because things cross over a little bit. So you're exact. I can't say you're wrong because it's actually happening. So
I tell that to people all the time that are like, I can't go out, I have to write, I have to do this. I was like, I learned it from a friend of mine who's in TV and a very successful TV writer. He's like, you got to remember what you're writing for. You got to stop and go out and hang out with friends, go see movies, do things.
It's in the cave all the time trying to bang out pages.
Or else the people that are going out and with their friends and going to get drinks and going out to dinner and then going home and to watch TV are going to watch the shows and be like, that's not me.
Yeah.
It's like, it's better to be one of those people as well.
Yeah.
So that
it all inspires.
Who wrote this? This guy's reading off a workbook template from '98. It's like I'm I'm wearing a mock turtleneck and a gold chain.
Let's
and
talk horror. Isn't this a horror podcast?
Hey, we get deep
We're talking
into
about
life.
life.
man.
Yeah, we get
Life, life is horror.
Let's talk about fun, disgusting,
This is
bloody
it.
stuff.
We're gonna
Okay, guys,
make it about horror.
let's do it.
This is our squads now.
Let's do our
Our
squad.
homework assignment. Who wants? All right.
Oh, shit.
Are we going to do?
Forgot
So
about
we decided to pick
lay it
5 monsters that we would put in our ideal Monster Squad movie, and then 5 heroes to face them.
Yep.
So do we want to do monsters first, and like one each, monsters first, then the squad, or do we want to do both? You know, how do we want to do this?
Can I just ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we each coming up with 5, or we're going to
No,
do
each. We've all
Each.
done each.
Yeah, you come up with 5
I
heroes
come up with
and 5 monsters.
Heroes, 5 monsters.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
We're gonna let you guys go last, so you could think about it while we do.
I'd rather go
ours.
first.
Okay.
I'll go last.
I was always the kid that like threw his hand up. I'm like, let's just get this fucking over with.
Okay.
So we start.
I'll go.
I don't know the
I'll-
answer to this
Ryan-
math question,
Ryan's
but
Going
I have
first.
no
Lambert's
idea.
first. I'm last. How
Actually,
about that?
All right, fair
Okay.
enough. All right, so 5 cinematic horror monsters that you would put.
Cinematic. Okay, wait, maybe I'm last. Okay. Does it have to be cinema or can it be
No, because
television?
one of mine, I'm going to say one of mine came from a TV show.
All right, fair. Whatever.
Because, like, if you want to put Buffy in, I didn't use
Oh,
Buffy,
don't
but
even
like,
go
We're,
there.
we're loose with our
Because
rules.
I could go
Already got
3
that.
hours on Buffy.
The show or
The
what?
the character.
I misunderstood you.
Yes, no, you did. No, you did not. God, I kind of like. I always like to go the things that scare me the most. Like if I'm gonna go monsters, are just like super creepy.
Okay.
So not like monsters or like even like Freddy or something. So I might throw Freddy in there in a minute, but like mine would be like the tooth monster from like Channel Z.
nice.
That's a good one.
Okay, like that kind of. So I'm going that direction.
That's
Am
fine.
Is that fair?
That's totally
am I on the
fair.
right-
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tooth Child is great.
Okay, maybe like the priest from Poltergeist 2.
Nice.
All right.
Okay.
Is that good?
We got
Yep.
some Kane.
That's good.
Okay.
Kane.
I might go. Oh, let's go like recent, like the yellow-eyed devil from Legion.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
I think I'm going all like psychological,
That's cool.
like inside brain.
I'm already scared of this
Yeah.
monsters movie.
It has the Tooth Child in it. I'm
Yeah,
scared
Tooth
already.
Child is kind of
Tooth
the
Child
creepiest.
is the creepiest thing. Don't even get Jesus. That's the scariest show I've ever seen in my entire life. God, let's throw a couple good ones. Okay, we're
That's
not double.
3.
We can't double up though. So if I choose somebody, then someone else can't have that person.
I think
No, we
could
could double up
Yeah.
because we
My
don't
fa-
know
that's
what
kind of
everyone
unfair.
picks.
My
Yeah.
favorite's Freddy, so I got to take Freddy.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
I'm sorry.
Cool.
All right.
Again, in dreams.
You've definitely got your psychological
I got the
trauma.
Yeah,
dream.
that's one
Like,
hell of a group so
yes, he
far.
does.
Yeah.
All right, one more monster.
Let me think. Gosh, man, can I come back to the 5th one?
Sure.
Sure.
It's just a dress from The Shining.
It's
and it floats
Just the dress.
ethereally.
the Grady twins could count as 1.
Oh,
I would let that. I
I'll
would let
take
that go.
Okay, I'll take the Grady twins.
Okay.
All right,
pretty
there's
good
my
lineup.
5
That's a pretty
monsters.
That
scary
is
lineup.
a
That's my
freaking scary lineup.
That's my 5 monsters.
All right.
Wow.
Do you want to do heroes or do we want to go down the
Wait,
line?
I have
I
five
say
monsters.
let's
I'm
do
good.
it.
I
You're
have
ready?
5, so I'll go.
All
Should we-
monsters.
Andre's
first,
ready.
yeah, all
all right,
No,
all
actually,
monsters
you know what?
first.
All monsters first.
Go ahead. Who are your 5 monsters?
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Nice.
Excellent.
Cujo.
Nice.
The Blob.
Hey.
Nice.
The Thing.
Which one?
Yes.
And which blob?
Whoever
the one that got that cute white kitten in the sink. I hate that blob.
Okay.
Whoever the 5th one has to be a cleaner because this is the messiest one.
The messiest monster
Just
group
grotesque.
ever.
Oh, did I put her on the right line? I put Corey Feldman. Is he not a monster? That's not the monster.
he's a hero.
That's
He's a
not the
hero.
monster.
Technically.
Is he? He can be on my list? No. Okay, I might have to put him
Still
up
owes me
there
$20.
with interest.
I don't
We'll
even
get
wanna
it.
know what that means.
We'll get it. I still have a pair of scissors. That was a visual joke for a podcast. Oh shit! I should have gone last.
That's a messy bunch of monsters so
Yeah.
far, though.
You only
Yeah, I
do
think-
one more.
I might have to come back to my 5th because now I'm stymied. Ooh, there's an old timey word.
Go old timey. Besides,
That's what I was thinking.
Classic modern movie maniac.
Maybe the original creepy Nosferatu going up the stairs because it's so it's just that's so bad but awesome.
And he's not messy.
That's true.
He's compulsively
I might come
clean,
up with
as most vampires are.
I might call a 20-second timeout later and substitute.
Okay.
Just in case I come up with a better one.
Yeah, because once he said TV, I thought of the Fluke Man and X-Files, and I was like, I should have chosen that. Would be a good monster,
He's
right?
super messy.
He'd be like the creature
gone on my
substitute.
list.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay,
all right.
so-
Ryan Turek, you're 5.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Let's drop this
Hit
shit
me
on
with
you
it.
guys.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so we're gonna lead with Predator.
Nice.
Predator is one of the coolest monsters to arrive in the 80s.
Already
Very
a difficult monster.
Very
to defeat.
handy, and also great design. Next up is Pumpkinhead.
Right on. Okay.
Again, a vengeance demon, but also a great monster. Next one, we're just getting larger. The Terror from Beyond Space, which was the template for Alien, but it's just kind of this weird interplanetary monster that's kind of crusty looking. And from a black and white movie, if you've never seen it, please do. But it's super cool, and he's just a big beastie. Next up is the monster that challenged the world. And if you've never seen the monster that challenged the world, please do. But it is a
Is that the giant crab looking thing?
it's like a giant snail.
Okay.
They rest at the bottom of this lake thanks to nukes, and they've gotten bigger, and then they kind of crawl out and they grab beaches. The monster that challenged the world.
Okay.
Yeah. And these are all monsters that I've always gravitated to when I was a kid. And then last but not least, Q, the winged serpent.
What the fuck, Turek?
Wow.
It's
How are
on
they
my
going to
list,
hang out?
too.
Yeah, I was like, who could ever defeat these 5?
Well, super
But also,
easy.
how are they going to hang out? I don't believe these guys are a squad.
Super easy, guys.
You want to do your
I call
heroes?
squad challenge.
Q takes it from the top.
Okay.
Q takes you from the top. The monster deals with the aquatic shit. And then, the kind of more bipedal monsters just kind of hang out, and they're like, hey, Q, go check that out, please.
I need to, all right.
Go scout.
Do heroes. I need to know who's going to fight these 5.
Wait, by the way,
'Cause that doesn't
I'm
make
calling
any
my
sense.
22nd because I know my 5th that I had that I totally forgot.
Okay.
And he is messy.
Oh, do it.
Based on the stuff.
So Nosferatu's out.
Fucking Godzilla.
Godzilla.
Oh, nice.
That's fair.
Nice.
Godzilla works.
So just imagine Godzilla coming at you and Cujo hanging out at the bottom, and then the blob just slowly like drifting, and then the thing could become the dog. I mean, that's a fucking weird group, but it's scary. I like it.
Yes.
So here's the thing. We'd have to check the text message chain, but I did have a backup crew that was purely inspired by the Monster Squad, which was, I think, the original assignment.
That's kind of where I was.
It was the
Like,
original.
sorry.
The original
Like
assignment.
we were supposed to use classic
we were
monsters?
supposed to
Your
use
favorite Dracula, your favorite
your
Wolfman,
favorite.
that's the
Yeah.
okay.
So I did that
fucked
homework.
up.
So
Okay.
I
Oh,
did that
do that.
homework.
I didn't do that either.
And here's the full representation of the Monster Squad, which you could count as official because I actually put some work into how they worked as a squad.
Look at this guy.
So Dracula, I had Gary Oldman's interpretation of the character.
Sure.
Because as much as I love Duncan's interpretation, which I think is the most ferocious Dracula that was put on screen, Gary Oldman's Dracula is a commander of armies.
Mm-hmm.
He cuts an opposing figure. He could turn into a fucking wolf. He could turn into all sorts of cool things. He's a shapeshifter, and he's super suave.
And he can totally
And
overact.
He can totally overact. And
that dude can fucking
So
the
one of my
woods.
only
And
one of my
total
only
fucking
impressions.
Yeah,
Shots fired.
So good. So good. So the Frankenstein monster was super tough, but I just had to go with Carlos Frankenstein.
Yeah,
Frankenstein
classic.
monster, just a classic. Wolfman, I had Henry Hull's Wilfred Glendon, the Werewolf of London, because he was incredibly rich, incredibly smart. He's a great design. The problem is that there's like this whole flower connection where, it's the flower that kind of defeats the wolf.
Wolfsbane?
Yeah.
No, it's just like a special Himalayan thing. The Mummy, I had the Tales from the Dark Side mummy from Lot 249.
Good one.
The Upside, he's imposing, creepy as fuck looking mummy. I do like the Monster Squad mummy a lot, but this motherfucker knows how to use a clothes hanger to rip out
Rip your brains out.
The downside is that he's controlled by a goddamn scroll. So anybody can get the scroll and just go,
Defeat
hey,
him.
mummy, stop.
Yeah.
And then for the creature, as much as I love Steve Wang's design for the creature in Monster Squad, I just have to go with the misunderstood monster from the original Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Nice.
So that was my OG squad if we're
Wow.
going based on the monsters.
All right, maybe we'll do that the opening of next episode because I did not do that.
Yeah,
That's
I
much
did not
smarter
do that
than
one.
what I thought.
I was thinking like we're picking a group who could actually hang out together, like almost like that, but
Yeah,
any
yeah.
monster, but they have to kind of make sense to go together.
That's kind of how I.
that's
yeah,
even
that's
more
how I.
fun.
to be a squad.
So the
That's
listeners,
the word I was
so the
going
listeners, we tell our text message homework.
We're going
We're
to
a
print
little-
that chain. We're printing
gonna
that
print the
chain
chain.
as evidence.
Do you want the heroes?
Yeah, let's get the heroes.
Okay,
Let's
so
get
the
it. Let's do
heroes,
it.
I've got Regina and Samantha from Night of the Comet.
All right.
Yes.
They're paired up with, along the way, while they're just figuring out how to fucking fight these monsters, they run into Meg Penny from The Blob.
Oh.
And then along the way, they run into a scarred and haunted Kirsty Cotton from Hellraiser.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And then they pick up Nancy Thompson along the way because Nancy knows how to fucking rig shit MacGruber style. MacGyver style. So I picked a squad that's all female.
That's only a
Wow.
4-person squad, Turek.
No, that's
two.
5. Regina, Samantha.
Oh,
Megan,
that's 2. Okay,
Kirsty, and
okay,
Nancy.
yeah. Got it.
Not bad,
Wow.
Brian. Not bad.
No,
All
not
right.
bad.
Becca, let's hear him. Monsters.
Okay, so I went with a very tactical approach.
Okay.
Thinking, how do you conquer something? And this is kind of like playing Risk, where you have to come at it from all angles. So I figured, okay, well, we need something that's going to do the sea. We need something from sky. We need something that's surface land. And then we need something from underneath the ground.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm with you.
All bases here. So for the sea, I've got the giant octopus creature from Deep Rising, because I have to.
Of course.
So yeah, we need him. And then coming from air, I also went Q the winged serpent, because, you need the airborne target. Under the ground, I went the Tremors monster. So he's conquering from below. And then to conquer the actual land, I figured we needed something that was very fast and could like wipe people out really quickly. But we also need something that can sneak into crevices just in case people are like trying to hunker down and, hide. So I said we need a xenomorph. And we also need those little slug things from Slither. So that is my monster squad.
Wow.
You mean Night of the Creeps?
That's the monsters.
No, the slug things from Slither.
You mean Night of the Creeps?
Night of the Creeps.
Night of the Creeps.
Yes.
Those are the monsters. Who's the squad that
Okay,
fights them?
so my squad was also very strategic. Now, I almost went all females because I've been reading this awesome comic called Rat Queens, which is all about like this female gang. So I was like, yeah, female. But then I decided to go very tactical with the squad as well. So what do you need to have an appropriate army? So I figured first thing that we need is just the total badass. So that's Kurt Russell. He can really be from any Kurt Russell movie. Just pick one.
It's not a character. It's Kurt Russell.
It's just Kurt Russell, guys.
I'll allow it.
So that's it.
That's fine.
I need an ammunitions expert. So I went Burt Gummer from Tremors is my ammunitions expert.
That's good.
I need a communications expert. So I went Stevie Wayne from The Fog, who is going to keep the word going of where everybody is and how they need to move around. We need a scientist because somebody's got to like figure out how to defeat these things. So I went Charlie Day from Pacific Rim because he's also comic relief. So you get like double trouble. And this one you guys are going to kill me for, but I'm going to defend it. I needed somebody to manage all this. Somebody who knows tactical battle maneuvers, can get shit done, also flight experience, because you're going to want somebody who can go from air. So I went Captain Janeway from Star Trek Voyager, and before you guys say it's not hard, they had a serial killer plotline, and the serial killer was played by Brad Dourif, so fuck you all. That's who's leading my team.
That is the biggest shark jump we've ever made in the history of the show.
Wow.
Bringing in Star Trek like
Always
that.
on brand.
It's funny because you both picked Q, and my brain went right to Star Trek. Did they just
I
pick
did too.
Q as
John Delancey?
Yeah.
Look, Janeway's leading my shit, guys. It's happening.
I mean,
Okay.
Your girlfriend would team with
No,
me on
she
that.
would.
She would.
Yeah.
Was she also cook in a women's prison?
That totally no. She's Janeway all the way. Because if I need to think of one person who can do the tactical battle maneuvers, can lead this, get shit done. Guys, it's her.
She wrote the whole movie.
Yeah.
So
That is
this is
this
like
is
a
it.
whole-
I'm
that's
done.
the way it
Good.
works.
I'm out. My runner-ups were Mila Jovovich, maybe, and Ripley to fight the Xenomorph.
Yeah,
But
like
really,
But wait,
I kinda-
Jovovich as Fifth Element or Jovovich as Resident Evil?
Resident Evil, because
Or
she could
Mila
kill people with
Jovovich,
her
who
thighs.
just listened to her Walkman in the back of biology
Ryan
class
went to
when I went to
school.
high school.
I'm going to go with the one who can kill people
Somehow
with
I
her
believe
thighs. But yeah,
All right.
Man,
so-
well, I was definitely
Elric.
thinking more like all of them. I was trying to physically see them as a group, both the good guys. I didn't care about their powers or sky.
I was thinking that money shot, like in the monster.
Yeah,
Squad.
yeah, it looks like a squad. Okay, so my leader, like your Dracula, is Tim Curry's Darkness from Legend. Because he cuts like a mean figure. He's huge. He's got the big head. He's scary. Then coming up next to him is my kind of crazy female. I'm going a little more obscure, the Unnameable, that weird woman Lovecraft creature that as a
Oh,
kid,
yeah.
I would rent
Oh.
that just because of the cover, because there's like hissing
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
she's nasty and you don't get to see her very much. That's my favorite one. Okay, then we have our like random monster who is just going to only ever pop out every episode and you won't even see much. And it is the sewer monster, which is what they're kind of calling him from Big Trouble in Little China, the big red beast, the big hairy monster. And I actually looked it up, and they because I never knew what that was, and it freaked me out because we couldn't understand what the fuck it was doing in the movie, right?
Like an ape man.
Yeah, and I looked it up, and they said it actually is based on a Chinese myth called Wild Man, which kind of means Bigfoot in the culture. So it actually there's a reason for it existing in the movie. It just seems so obscure to me as a kid. Right. So that's my big crazy one. He would just pop out here and there. Then my other, like, the really one is gonna fucking freak you the shit out. Mr. Barlow from Salem's Lot. Oh. One of the scariest motherfuckers to ever, that. Yeah. He's Nosferatu, basically. But I always think that's, to me, the one that's still, I'm not, this is actually a true story. When I was looking up these for the show, I said, Mr. Barlow, and I pushed a clip, 40-second clip, and the jail door opens and the guy looks up, and then it's like, he jumps out, and I went, oh. and I jumped back watching a 40-second clip before the show. So that tells you he's still scary. So that's 4, right?
Yeah.
And I had to sacrifice to get him in there. It was because I was waiting to see what everyone did. My backup to him was the Night Flyer vampire, who I think would look good in a Monster Squad movie.
He would.
I feel like he's a crossover character. Anyway, but only one vampire. And then I also was flirting with Pumpkinhead like him, but I can't say Pumpkinhead's too big to go in there. So I am ending with a guy called Raymond Bravo. And some of you are hearing the name Raymond Bravo going, I wonder, who is this Raymond Bravo? Well, he's the guy who played the zombie who punched the motherfucking shark. And if you can punch a shark, you can be in my movie. That's what's happening. Okay. He is my zombie. He's going to come up, and he is the guy who hit a shark. From Zombie.
Wow.
Boom.
And all right. I get it. Who's going to fight him?
Just so you know, the Manitou was close.
Manitou is absolutely worthless. All he does is get on his knees and go, oh.
Dude, he had all those special effects.
Like the special effects and the lasers.
He can hide in your shoulder. He can hide on a woman's shoulder. All right, so taking them on, I actually must say I kind of like my Hero Squad even more, so I'm kind of...
Okay.
All right, so number one, I've only got one big one. Number one, leading the team. So imagine this is like a show like The X-Files for real. This is a TV show. Herbert West is my main character. He is taking down, he is not reanimating shit anymore. He learned from his ways. He is the hero, and he's the guy trying to figure it out, but he's still eccentric as fuck. And has a problem with his eccentricities is Tom Atkins, Ray Cameron from Night of the Creeps, has problems with the fact that they keep clashing because they're very different leaders.
You and I are very
exactly a great character. But me and Ryan aren't too far off because my favorite female in almost any movie is Regina from Night of the Comet. Yeah. She is there to keep those two in line because they keep arguing. She ends up being the leader of the team half the time. And then this is going to be outside the box, right? You're going to like this, though.
You're going to be Captain Picard.
When things get... not that outside the box. When things get really supernatural and those guys are all very human and can't handle it, Tina Shepard from Friday 13th Part 7 with her telekinetic abilities.
I love it. I do love it.
She is taking some of these guys down. And then I'm going to end with the guy who basically gets them to work, and that's Michael J. Fox and the Frighteners, Frank Bannister, door to door, getting them gigs with his card. He's beating the street. Damn. And I have a sixth because he's not human. And I wanted to throw this out there to you. My sixth member of this team who has now developed, imagine this movie was from 30 years ago, he kept developing his brain activity. Bub is part of the good guys from Day of the Dead. He is like a good guy, so he's just one of them. So the Monster Squad show up, and Bub's just there going, but he's a good, and he helps them in the adventures because his brain development has developed.
Yes.
And he's like,
screw Big Daddy. We're talking Bub here.
It's like Bub Flowers for Algernon level now.
Like
he's
Bub is
genius.
He's a fucking genius.
Bub is there, and he's not. Yeah, exactly.
He's like a tactical fucking.
Well, I needed someone to face off against the shark puncher.
He's just like a dead savant.
But I love the idea of Bub being in like a fun movie. Like Bub seems like he deserves it, Yeah. And I flirted with the idea of on the baddies. I flirted with, you remember Dead Girl? And I was just like, you know what? She deserves a chance to kick some ass. Like, Dead Girl was just raped for a whole movie.
Oh my God.
It's like, let's give her a chance to kill someone, But anyway.
She's not a monster.
Oh, yeah, she was a monster. She was a zombie.
Wow. All right.
Anyway.
Okay, here we go. Monsters. I kind of went a little obvious here, but the leader of them all, we need somebody to be kind of the Dracula.
Yep.
I'm going Freddy Krueger. He's the one that would get these all together and manipulate them somehow. I want to keep it modern. Got to throw Michael Myers in there.
Okay.
Just like Mike, just want somebody silent. That's the Frankenstein version of this, thing. I got to have a wolf man in there of some sort. And I struggled with this long and hard, but finally decided I want a wild card in this team. So I'm going with the American Werewolf in London werewolf. Because I feel like
so he's more like a lapdog.
He's kind of the one they unleash, the hellhound that's like when shit gets down, it's like, let's just unleash this thing on them because good luck.
You're making me want the leader to be the Nazi werewolf in the dream scene. That would be scary.
That would work too.
Character.
Okay, so American Werewolf in London. I also went big creature and put Pumpkinhead in there.
Yeah, Pumpkinhead.
specifically because I have a hero that I want to fight Pumpkinhead, and I don't know why this makes sense to me, but it does, and I'll get to that in a minute. And then last but not least, also Barlow, the Toby Hooper version of the Nosferatu, because he's scary, and I think seeing him next to Freddy Krueger and those others would be kind of.
I also like that he has a person's name.
Yeah,
because he doesn't look like it could just be
Barlow.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Barlow.
So there you go. So Squad was very difficult, but at the head of the squad is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Because I want a chick that could take out Barlow.
Okay.
Quite frankly.
And the Christy Swanson one, just to be clear.
Ooh.
I'm all right with that.
I like her.
I'm
Either
on
or.
Team Elric.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
I loved her.
Either or is fine with me. Number 2, and not because he's in the room, but Rudy from the Monster Squad has to be part of it.
Nice.
It's, we just need somebody. And then just because I think he'd be kind of the father figure to Rudy, I also went for Ray Cameron, the detective,
such a
Tom
good
Atkins
character.
in Night of the Creeps.
Love that character.
I think that would work.
Yeah.
And this makes no sense, but he's my hero. I love fucking Brody, Roy Schneider from Jaws.
That's good, yeah.
And I feel like that guy would go after Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, he'd be a good Pumpkinhead guy.
He took out 2 fucking great whites. He's like, I'll go after Pumpkinhead. I got this. I feel
one
like
of his sons goes missing on a dirt bike.
exactly.
Ride or something.
Brody would be the man to get shit done.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And I struggle with the last one because I kind of wanted a Van Helsing, maybe like Peter Cushing, and then you obviously have like Ash and all that. But no, I went for Nancy Thomas because I wanted another girl in the group, and she's pretty badass. So I figured that would
Yeah, the way
round
she
it
set
out.
traps and things
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
it.
Yeah.
I
She actually
almost
outsmarted
went
him.
Alice from Elm Street just because she
Alice is good, too.
defeated Freddy twice. She was definitely a fighter, mom instinct, but yeah.
Yeah. So that's fun. Did you guys think of heroes,
Oh,
or
I've
do you
got
want
my
to?
5. But I had a quick, you're covering up your list like we're at team
Yes.
trivia at the
Yep.
bar.
Yeah.
I don't
So
want
no
to
one.
see it.
Okay, got it. I just
how
wanted
we
to
do
make
it.
sure because I'm covering up mine too.
All right. Yeah. No, I don't want to spoil it.
What you got?
What you got? Ryan's looking over now.
No cheating at pub trivia, Turek. We take the shit.
All right,
seriously.
Andre. Let us know.
It's me. Are we go? Who's your,
I'll try.
Ryan?
I
Go
gotta
ahead.
try. I have not even usually when you're waiting.
Brody's
in
a good
class,
one, though. I
Like
thought
you're
you-
like
I thought
I
you would
got
pick
it.
that.
I'm I'm thinking. I have not even thought about it because I've been so engrossed in
listening
what
to
you
it.
guys have been doing. Like oh shit, I forgot I have more, but I could just do this on the fly. Let's see. My heroes, 5 heroes. I mean, also what my monsters were supernatural, sort of otherworldly, dreamy, people. So I don't know.
Spike from Buffy.
Right.
That's not. You've told me stories about.
I know
you and Spike.
I know me and Spike. We're just kicking ass in the world, not like what you're thinking.
I misinterpreted your story. My bad.
Let's see. Fucking Indiana Jones. First of all,
Fair.
If Janeway's in there,
Yeah,
Jones
I
can be in
said
there.
Janeway,
Okay.
so we'll allow it.
Okay.
Indiana Jones in this team.
But there's
He's
monsters.
Han
There's
Solo?
supernatural. There's
there's
monsters.
supernatural shit in
Yeah.
Indiana Jones.
I'm with you.
Absolutely. No,
No,
Jones.
no,
Jones
he's
is
right.
I'm with you.
Jones is in
We
there.
accept it.
Yes.
E.T.
All right. He'd help.
Say what?
He's the smart one. He figures everything out. He builds the things to get the.
All right.
I gotta take E.T.'s got to be in there somewhere.
All right. We're going Spielberg so far.
See, my thing was Kurt Russell too, in Big Trouble in Little China or The Thing.
Really, he can be from Overboard,
I know,
and I'm
that's
still
what I'm
I love
It'd
you.
still
You're
work.
in my movie.
Yeah, see, I'm down with him, and I was gonna also say Jo Beth Williams, because if we're going supernatural, she's she was definitely fought the ghosts.
Yeah.
In Poltergeist. So we're definitely going with Jo Beth.
Okay.
And Diane, what was her name? Diane. God,
That's four.
I think
That's
that's
four.
that's
Four.
4?
Four?
Damn it! Who's my 5th?
Don't look on my. I saw you cheating.
I'm not. I know you have it turned
can't
over.
see that far. You can't
it's
see that far anyway.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you got to come back to me on my 5th. I need a little time for a really good one because I feel like I didn't get those.
Not
in.
Buffy. I thought that was a given.
He already took Buffy.
You could take
You
Buffy
could take
too.
Buffy.
We doubled
I'll
up.
take Buffy.
Pumpkinhead's been all over.
I was
Yeah,
actually gonna,
Hugh the Winged Serpent.
I was actually
made
gonna
it
Hugh the
twice.
Servant, Pumpkinhead. Yeah.
yeah.
Buffy's got to be your number one.
Well, I was going to take Willow. Actually,
Hey, all right.
Equally
Yeah,
good.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's fair enough.
What? Oh, Ryan.
not a fan.
I fucking hate Willow.
Really?
Oh,
One
man.
hates Willow.
I fucking hate Willow and I hate Hook because I don't like Joy.
She went evil too, though.
Yeah.
she could be on either.
Yeah, after Tara got killed, she went completely nuts.
She went bonkers
Yeah.
on.
You know what all that talk made me think of? Snake Plissken versus Predator would be like the most
Amazing.
exciting movie
Yes.
ever. When you're talking about a cross, I'm just thinking of him and Predator going, oh my God, those guys.
That would work.
Snake Plissken in general against creatures would be like an
It'd be
amazing
fun.
movie. Yeah.
Well, I never like. There's a comic book of Snake Plissken.
Wow, if we could only have like a show where Elric pitches stuff to like a production studio.
So Snake
Unfortunately, it would
Plissken,
be like him surfing, Snake Plissken surfing and playing basketball. That's my idea. Done.
so Snake Plissken on Purge Night with the Predator.
With the Predator.
Hey,
Oh,
now we're talking.
Can I take one out and
versus Sharktopus and
President
Megacroc?
Plissken to you.
Can I put the doctor in there?
Yeah. Hey, why not?
Definitely.
Oh, that's very you. That's a good one.
Just the doctor. We don't have to go with which one. Just it's the doctor.
And a TARDIS.
That's how they get around.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's actually
transportation.
pretty cool.
That's a good one.
Alrighty,
That's
heroes, hit me with them.
All right, ironically, since Rebekah and you guys came up with like tactical plans, my random one, because I kind of went back to what I was talking about before, is the stuff you saw as a kid. We had very limited fare if you weren't super into it, and it worked out pretty interesting. Ripley,
All right.
Nice. Given.
fat kid,
Yeah.
because everybody likes him.
His name's Horace.
His name is Horace. We would need someone that kind of can do science-y type stuff. So Dr. Frankenstein.
Nice.
Someone that also understands the supernatural and can guide the squad through it. So Tangina.
Ooh,
I like that.
that's a good
Like
one
her
we
being
all
there.
missed out on.
And then for the muscle, I have Iron Giant.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
like that.
Wow,
All right.
that's like like just a universal ass kicking squad.
Yeah.
like Iron
I tried.
Giant's just like
Nobody's beating
I'm just
them.
gonna
I
stomp
tried.
that shit.
Yeah,
well, though
nobody's
you do
beating
have
Because Iron
Godzilla.
Giant was on right after Kung Fu Theater, right after like Creature from the Black Lagoon on Channel 9 in LA when I was a kid.
Wow.
No Horace Pinker.
No Horace Pinker. No,
No Shocker.
no shocker. That'll have
Sorry,
to be
Brian
the next
Collins.
monster. That'll be the sequel.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, that was a
think
lot of
those are
fun.
good lists.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You want to see them all visually now? Like you want to see them dressed as your characters versus each other?
Yeah.
Right. Well, our
Pay good
homework
money
is
to a
we have to
graphic
send
designer.
images to Ryan.
Yeah.
right.
And he's going to, I think, put them together.
No, I think what this is this the first time you've done
Yes.
that on
yes.
this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should write these down, and then these are little animated webisodes.
Hey.
With all these people.
Get creative, listeners.
Yeah.
Start drawing these up.
Give us some fan art.
Yeah, would love to see that. Well, this is a blast, and all of us here are huge fans of the movie and huge fans of you guys, and we really appreciate you coming down, talking monsters with us.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, and what's the name of your podcast, and where can we find it?
Go ahead.
Squadcast with Ryan and Andre.
Squadcast.
It's like it's like the thing. It's on SoundCloud. It's on iTunes, and the best place to go is ryanandandre.com, and every episode's always live, or the new one's live and archived there, so you can see everything.
Beautiful.
And if you want cool stuff, it's on ryanandandre.com. But I'm not hawking anything today.
Yeah, and I just want to say that that Vance Kelly poster that recently came out.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's nice. Have you seen this
No,
artwork?
no.
So this artist Vance Kelly, I've got a bunch of his stuff up
yeah.
in my place, but he recently did a Monster Squad poster that is just absolutely beautiful.
Oh man,
Yeah. I
right.
was like, Vance.
you want it?
Well, he was kind enough to hook me up with a Prince of Darkness poster recently. And
Okay.
I'm gonna put that up on my Instagram.
Is that the one we just saw at the?
Yeah, that's
at the Hero Complex?
yep.
Yeah, it's great.
Wow, excellent. Well, thank you
Very
guys
cool.
for coming in.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for listening. And we'll put a thing up on the group. Let's hear your monsters and your monster squad.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It'd be fun to hear. what
And
everyone
adhere
else
to
has
our
say.
rules or adhere to whatever rules that you just come up
But I
with.
think we all kind of made different rules.
Yeah, it's
as
kind
we
of
went
anarchy.
along, right?
Whatever you want.
By
man.
the way, I just want to set the record straight. Elric,
Yeah.
you were absolutely right.
What's that?
Yeah.
I was looking at the text
Ryan
chain.
checked the text.
No. I looked at the text chain and I was like, we should just recast the Universal monsters. And then you were like, any monster's good.
Oh, okay, there you go. So it was
that
both
monster squad.
right.
Yeah, this poster.
Oh,
is
that's great.
crazy.
Yeah, I do kind of want that.
Thank you
now.
very much.
We'll see you next week, guys.